All right.
Oh, wow.
3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 258 of the KBMOD podcast. It is December 4th, 2016, and we are back after a 2 weeks, a week off, not 2 weeks.
Just a week.
Just a week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 weeks for some of us. I've been gone a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that's
2
true,
weeks
Brandon.
for myself as well.
Yeah, and that's right for KD as well. But yeah, so we have some stuff. We have some life stuff to catch up on. First of all, how was your guys' hiatus? Your vacays, which that's not what they were. You guys just had stuff going on. But tell me about them. I in the pre-show, or actually before we were live, I excitedly asked Katie if he had gone on any more dates.
Another date. No.
I found out that he hadn't. So
I want to start with Brandon. It feels like he's had the much more interesting trip between the two of us for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went on vacation to Iceland, and so
that's right.
That was fun.
That is.
Yeah.
You're implying somehow that Iceland could be more inherently interesting than Indiana. I know that's shocking to me, but
absolutely.
Hey,
no, that was true. I was seeing your Facebook and Twitter feed, and you guys look like you were doing it up in Iceland.
Yeah, I mean that's basically like Iceland is the place that you go if you want people to be jealous of all the pictures you're taking, because that's pretty much the whole whole country is just like beautiful and scenic.
Right. I was wondering, so that's all I see if my friends go to visit. I just see a shit ton of pictures of like beautiful places, but I don't really see like them doing much else. Like, is that kind of the thing you go to Iceland for, just for like the scenic, like backdrops you can check out? I don't know.
Sort of. I mean, there's hot springs, so there's like there's a lot of interesting natural phenomena in Iceland. Like all their power is like geothermal, and so they have like geothermal power stations. They have hot springs. They have geysers. They have like some big waterfalls. There's just a lot of really interesting naturally occurring stuff there, and so actually it's like naturally that makes for good pictures. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like if you don't enjoy stuff in the outdoors, you probably wouldn't enjoy Iceland, because that's the reason to go. Like there's hiking, there's all sorts of outdoor activities. But if you don't like that stuff, it's definitely not. It wouldn't be the first place I'd say should be on your list. But it was a lot of fun seeing a lot of the stuff there, and neither of us had ever been, so we just like rented a car and saw a whole bunch of stuff in like 4 or 5 days. We got to see the Northern Lights, which was pretty amazing. And that's like that's sort of the classic thing that people always want to go and take pictures of. And so we got to see that, got some pictures of that, which was neat.
How was that? I was going to ask you about the food. Like, what's the food like? And did you?
The food was really good. Only thing is, it's quite expensive. That's the one thing I'll say that I was like a little surprised that a lot of things in Iceland are quite expensive. And so the food was very good though. Like a lot of fish, a lot of local dishes. And I mean, we didn't have a bad meal while we were there. It's just that it was a little more expensive than it would be. Like in
give me the ballpark for like.
Yeah, are we talking like 10 plus every meal, or?
I would say like breakfast probably like $20 each, and dinner's probably like 30 to 40 each.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like the restaurants are nice, but it's not like every place we went was a steakhouse, you know. So that's the only thing, is it's definitely not a cheap place to go, but for a vacation, it's not like it's completely ridiculous either. But yeah, we had just the regular fish and chips I had at one place was so good, because even the cod and everything,
probably
like
fresh.
Like the normal fish like cod and ling and stuff that normally is nothing special. It's caught like right there, and so all that stuff was really good. And in like a slight gaming related note, we saw the CCP office, the company that makes Eve, and because like originally, so I was looking on Google Maps, and and just like looking for points of interest right in downtown Reykjavik, and it's not a very big place. Like for being a what people think of as like a large city, that city is not very big. And so we were looking at points of interest and kind of walking around, and I saw this thing called the EVE Online Monument, and I vaguely remember, like I think a couple years back, hearing that they had erected this monument that was like a kind of dedicated to all the players of EVE. But I didn't really remember any details about it. But I was like, cool, let's go walk down and see that. So we go walk down and see it, and it's like, okay, cool, it's this little monument. I didn't realize that monument is literally, like, it's on the harbor, but I didn't realize it's literally right out in front of their office. Like, their office is on the harbor with, like, this beautiful view and everything. So, like, the CCP office is, like, more or less kind of right near the main tourist area in the city. But I didn't even know until I looked on the map and did a little bit of research. That was kind of
really cool.
I wonder how much like EVE influences the like economy there, like nationwide. Cause,
I don't know, but like it definitely,
it's a pretty big export.
Yeah, it definitely seems like I got the sense that Iceland is not a big country, and so having a developer with a major game, like I feel like it does impact the culture a little bit. Like more people would know about EVE in Iceland than other places. Like if you ask your parents about EVE, they've probably never heard of it. It's a pretty niche game.
That's pretty cool. Shout out to Wet Willie in our chat who says that his name's actually on that monument along with about, was that 50,000 others?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So when I first looked at the monument, I was like, wait, I thought there were supposed to be names on this thing. And then I realized they are all so small that like you actually miss them unless you are like inches away from it, and then you see that what just looks like just a normal flat surface, like flat color, is actually inscribed with thousands of names. You just don't see them unless you get really, really close. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, that was really neat. And then we went to Sweden, went to DreamHack, and that was fun. But it's good to be back, getting into kind of the Christmas spirit, because we kind of we missed Thanksgiving, given that we were on a holiday. So
how was everybody's Thanksgiving, Ro? We don't have to go super detailed, but were there any major disasters, or did everybody have a generally decent Thanksgiving?
So my birthday was on Thanksgiving this year.
Yes.
But yeah, we went to back to Eastern Oregon to visit Katie's family, and it wouldn't have been so bad, but the internet in Eastern Oregon has gotten so bad that like it's pretty sad when like I'm talking about my birthday and the exciting thing I'm talking about is the internet. But anyways,
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but go ahead.
400 kilobytes per second.
Holy
for the
shit.
That's terrible.
So I couldn't even watch
unlivable.
Twitch streams. I couldn't load like YouTube videos. And this happens every time like people come back to visit for the holidays.
Yeah.
Like, it is that bad. Like CenturyLink is doing something so bad that they can't like manage to load bandwidth that occurs every holiday season. So everyone's connections just shit the bed. And
how ridiculous is it that you were in, a pretty reasonably built up part of the United States?
Yeah.
Like not crazy rural, right? You're not like hours out of the way of everything. And I'm in Iceland, and my cell phone, I grab a SIM card for like $30 for 10 gigs of data in Iceland. And I'm like an hour outside of Reykjavik, Iceland, and getting like, 10 megs down.
Totally.
Let that just sink in a little bit.
If only there was some place where you could reliably watch movies without having to, have a really powerful internet, something like perhaps just borrowing movies and returning them, like after a certain period of time. That'd be pretty helpful.
You mean like on physical media?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe even VHS tapes, perhaps,
Yeah.
Okay, that's a novel idea.
Interesting. I don't know if
that's goes places.
Yeah. Could be potential. You're roboting a bit, Katie. Speaking of shitty internet connections.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Literally proving our point, but it is. I mean, it's the United States is just so it's like right now I have 100 because I have FiOS and this is a pretty built up area, but there were even cases like that when I lived in LA, depending on where. Like I had Time Warner, which we've talked about that many times before, but it'd be like you get limited with that. It's just I think it mostly comes down to the fucking monopolies and then the non-compete clauses that all these companies have, and I don't know. Like and it sounds like we're crying first world problems, but for a company or a country that's as developed as the United States, it really is inexcusable in 2016.
I feel like bad internet
for Brad to be getting 400.
Like as time goes on, is bad internet even really considered a first world problem?
No, probably no. You're probably right. It's kind of like it's pretty essential for
Facebook is
society,
literally
really.
blasting down internet to third world countries that are faster than what I'm getting in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Did any of you have any awkward political Thanksgiving discussions?
So that was the talk of because I went to visit. Me and Tab went home first, and then all of our extended family. My mom's side live in Connecticut, so. And we were like, our family was talking about it a bunch, and without getting too detailed politically, we definitely, like, my mom was like, oh, I don't know, like she was pretty sure that her family was going to side with her political views, and without sharing those, let's just say it wasn't Trump. So, and she was like, no, I don't think any of my families like would be pro-Trump, and I was like, Mom, like I know. Like, yes, they will be. And she's like, oh, I don't think so. And anyway, we went, but we made sure that we weren't going to talk about it. And we got through we had a lot of time with family. And I got through the entire time. I was only asked once by my uncle, like, hey, do you mind, who did you vote for? And I kind of dodged the question because I just, it's just.
Yeah, you don't step on.
Didn't want to get into it. You didn't want.
There's just no point. Like, you know what I mean? There's no point. Like people it's just politics over, like family stuff is just never a good time. But yeah, no, we totally avoided it, which I was really happy about. So no politics to ruin the mood, which was nice. What about you, Katie? Frozen Katie?
No, I knew that. I was just like waiting for someone to say Trump, like, and for something to come out of that, because a few relatives came over that like, everybody really knows we're really pro-Trump, and my immediate family.
You are literally a robot.
Turn your against.
You are hard to
right back.
Right.
I'm gonna switch.
All right. Well, good talk to Katie.
Katie was just he was like really really into this analogy we were making with the internet in the United States.
See, the thing about Katie is he like really tries to prove our points for us. He's like the sacrificial lamb. He's like, I'll show you how bad the internet is in the United States.
Yeah, he's just
okay. What about now?
Oh, you sound much better now.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound way better now.
Okay.
Sorry, you were saying you thought somebody was going to bring up politics, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, but pretty much everybody knew that other people were like that this like argument would start if people got into it, so we all kind of danced around it pretty well.
That's
but
good.
Yeah, it was still in the air.
As long as the family knows like the rules of engagement, you know what I mean? I think that's the other. Once in a while you get some tone deaf family members, but yeah, that's good.
Exactly. Hillary stopped KD.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it was a pretty successful Thanksgiving. There was an absolutely ludicrous amount of food made of just anything you could think of for Thanksgiving. Actually, not everything. I think aside from like stuffing, we didn't have that, but pretty much everything else. I remember. Oh, I don't care for stuffing. No one likes
get
stuffing.
out.
What? Oh my god!
Okay. It just doesn't do anything.
Maybe your internet still isn't working. Oh no!
It has to.
KB.
Wait. Okay. Yeah, my words got switched around. Oh, dude, I love stuffing. Oh,
okay,
sorry.
That's better. Yeah, it was your internet messing up. The packets got reversed, or they're sending in weird ways. So it sounded like you said you don't care for stuff. That's
weird. I've seen low bit rates, but never just switching words around. That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's.
But without a doubt, the most important delicacy at Thanksgiving every year are these homemade noodles that like
noodles.
Yes. Yes.
That's not what I expected.
Me either. I don't even know if I've ever had noodles at Thanksgiving.
Oh, they're great. It's like chicken noodles that are like the dough's cut out into like strips and like left laying out on the table the night before, like on a clean table, and like just they're delicious. I'm not sure exactly how they're made.
Noodles? No, you gotta describe. I've never had this before. So
Well, I
yeah.
mean, they're homemade noodles,
Is it
but
a
they're like they have like chicken
stew?
flavoring.
Oh,
No, it's like you're just having. It's not really spaghetti. It's just these really fat noodles, kind of pasta.
okay. But then do you eat
have
them with
it,
anything
with
else?
something
But, like,
or just
you put
alone?
food on it? What?
No, I mean usually they go pretty good with mashed potatoes, but just by themselves,
Okay.
they're pretty tasty.
So what do they call these other than chicken noodles? Like,
Just
is
homemade
there,
like-
noodles.
Okay.
No, just I mean, I'm a simple man. I can eat simple homemade
No, I can
noodles.
appreciate there's different traditions in different families and areas. You know, I've never had noodles with Thanksgiving, so that's
Okay, I gotcha.
Um,
But a few minutes prior to when we all sit down and eat, I was in my room for a second, and someone comes up and says, "David, I'm sorry. Did you hear that bang just now?" And I was like, "No, what happened?" They're like, "Well, something just happened. Someone tripped. All the noodles fell. The bowl broke.
oh
Stained
my
the
God,
carpet.
God.
Everything
They
fell."
fucked you, didn't they? They trolled
I
you.
got cucked hardcore. And like after hearing this, I got like surprisingly affected by this. Like I'm sitting here just like, oh my God, that was the one fucking thing I was looking forward to. Of all the things to spill, it had to be the goddamn noodles. And then I come out and I see all the noodles in the bowl just fine. I'm like, was there a second bowl? And like it didn't even dawn on me then that I was just getting
Wow.
played with. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like, man, I really got that pissed off about noodles. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much good food, and then, but
No, Thanksgiving's a big day. Yeah, when stuff like that happens, I remember. Oh my God, a couple years ago, we always have it at my aunt's house, and my mom makes insane desserts, and she makes this incredible chocolate chip cheesecake that we look forward to every year. It's just so good, and they have their
Yeah.
fucking dog Hunter, he's a golden retriever. He's huge, and he's like a nice dog, but she was putting the desserts out after the trip, and he jumped up and ripped the entire cake, the chocolate chip cheesecake, onto the ground and ate
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
quarters of it in like one bite. And you should have seen it was the same thing, Katie. It was like everybody in the family, like it was just like mourning. Everyone was like, Are you kidding me? We were shell shocked. We were like, well, we still have the carrot cake and the pumpkin pie and the apple pie, but we're like, no. It was so hard to recover. And there was just literally salvageable, probably less than a quarter, maybe like a sixth. And I think it was like split between like the entire. It was like there's like 20 people in the house. It was so depressing.
I feel like that happens so often. Like so many, you always have like the dog jumped up and pulled something down story, but it just so happened this time it's like the homemade thing that everyone was looking forward to.
Everyone's looking forward to. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
It's disappointing. But luckily nothing like that this year. It was pretty standard. All right, Katie, real quick, you said you didn't go on any more dates, huh?
No. The only real life thing that happened was the reason I wasn't here the last podcast because of Extra Life. I did
Got
my
a
Extra
hand.
Life stream.
Oh, sorry.
Huh? Oh
No.
well, yeah, that too.
Okay.
But yeah, the more important thing
Yes.
was Extra Life happened,
how did it go?
and it went pretty well. I ended up reaching my goal of 500 thanks to some very
Awesome.
generous people.
Awesome.
And yeah, we started with a glorious return to Orion Dino Horde.
Oh my
That
God.
Okay.
for about 8 hours. That was
8
holy
hours. You're mad.
yeah. Listen, I stand by that game. That was a good ass game. Like I had surprisingly enough, people were still playing that. Like I was matching up. I don't know if anybody in the chat right now watched it, but Anecdotal Snail, the MVP, just matched up with this random person playing Anecdotal Snail, and he was an absolute legend. May he rest in peace. But
So what's
and then
yeah.
go ahead.
And you played this stuff with your mom too, right?
Yeah. So after that, my mom and we did a full playthrough of Layers of Fear, which that ended up turning out pretty well. It got to the point where that game feels like I had not seen any previous stuff about that at all. So
Yeah.
it really, that game is honestly just like a haunted house simulator.
Basically.
Like, I thought Soma didn't have any gameplay. No, Layers of Fear. That's like
You basically just walk around and it's just supposed to I think that's a good description of it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to make you feel disoriented and there's a lot of jump scares and shit.
yeah. Towards the end, it just felt like it was playing a lot of the same tricks, and then the goddamn checkers puzzle at the very end can suck my dick.
Oh yeah, that took in the final that took me forever too to figure out like what do you want me to do? Game.
Yeah, that was where that was our breaking point where we looked up a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, ended up getting the worst ending, and towards the end, we were both like not even being scared by things. We were like, that was okay. I didn't. It didn't really impress me as much as people claim.
Did it impress your mother, or was she same feeling, kind of like?
There's so many. Well, I mean, she definitely got scared. Like she doesn't handle horror games well, which is why it went so fantastic. Like even going back to the VOD, there were like times where I left the room for a bit and she's playing a section of it and scary things are happening and she is freaking out and it's hilarious. But yeah, so after that, did some Dark Souls 3 and then we played the game Orion, which was the newest game, another like dino round-based dinosaur sci-fi shooter, and that game is infinitely worse than Dino Horde or Orion Prelude at this point. That game was oh my god, it was absolute dog shit. It was like if you took Orion Horde, Dino Horde, and take out like all the successful things, like there's no upgrades in a game. Like there are no upgrades. There are like less players, there's less variety. The movement is really restricted because it started off originally as a top-down game, and then they made it to where you can go third person or first person, but you still have the same movement as being top-down. So like as a whole, it just feels worse. It's just, God, it's a mess. But then after that, we ended up closing out. That was actually, I was at the point where I was falling asleep on stream after that. Like I was at my breaking point. But thankfully we played some Zuma's Revenge. That really wakes somebody up. Have you guys played that game where you're the frog and you're shooting out the balls?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Zuma's Revenge. You can play it right now in your web browser for free. That is
what an ad.
One of the best. Now. Oh, it's so good.
Get it up right now.
I'm a goddamn professional. Anyways, but then we actually finished with Enter the Gungeon. I just did runs of that for about 4 hours, and that game really keeps you awake. Like that game is awesome. Like I'd only played like an hour of it prior, and that really easily kept the rest of the stream.
Nice.
But yeah, overall went pretty well.
Very successful.
Well,
That's
congrats
good.
on getting your goal, man.
Yeah, 500 is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, cool. All right, well, that kind of segues us into what we've been playing this week. I guess was that 2 weeks? That was 2 weeks ago, I guess, technically. But
yeah,
we'll get to more current stuff. Brad, we'll start with you. What have you been playing on your 400 kilobyte connection? I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah, you're back home. So,
well, so
you actually, your internet still at home is terrible because you have DSL, right? Or at least your upload is.
Yeah, so my upload here is pretty terrible, but it's the download's manageable. So they, like I've said in previous podcasts, they've literally given us 2 DSL lines,
right,
to make up for the download. So, but what I've been playing is Final Fantasy 15. I was given a code for that, so
yes,
that was pretty interesting. Well, it's interesting so far. I have like a couple hours into it, and just in like the second chapter. Yeah, so I'm not really far at all. It's not really my type of game, but given that I was provided a code, I feel inclined to actually play through it now, which is kind of nice. So, so far my first impressions are pretty interesting. I've never really gotten into a Final Fantasy game before. So this is kind of, I think it's a good one to get into. I don't know, maybe Katie's in with a better background in it. You can tell me whether it is or not. But other than that, I've just been playing a shit ton of Battlefield 1.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's kick it over to KD to see what his thoughts are, because yes, I know you've been playing Final Fantasy 15 too, KD. What do you think? Good entry if you haven't played any of these games before to try out 15?
I would say so. More so just because it feels like a pretty big departure from other Final Fantasy games. I find it odd that like even on the splash screen for the game, intro. It even says, it says like a Final Fantasy for first timers, and it was like first timers and like fans of the series. I was like, okay, that's something to put at your title screen. I mean, you think by the 15th entry, people will understand you don't have to play other Final Fantasies to understand them. But anyways, I think I was 12 hours in last time I checked. But it's pretty good so far. It's got a pretty good combat system, the story. One thing I'll say about the story is it really does feel essential to watch the Kingsglaive movie that they made for it, as well as not so much the anime they made, but that's really good for like building the characters, because that stuff they really do a poor job of explaining in the game. They actually like when they're explaining events, they'll show scenes from the movie in the game to like fill in for it, which is kind of at first. Yeah. But yeah, so far it's been pretty fun. It feels like an action game. Like I was kind of worried. I was thinking, this is just going to be straight up action, but I was surprised how much Final Fantasy feel they put into it, because right at the get-go, you're doing quests, you're leveling up, getting equipment, things like that. It's pretty open. Mind if I go offline? I'm gonna try and reset my modem, see if my internet will fix. I'll be on like a minute or two.
Go for it.
Like, is it really that bad? Or,
I mean, you sound better.
We'll be here for you.
Yeah, you're a lot better now, but you might want to reset and see if it keeps doing it.
All right, be right back.
All right.
I will.
Yeah, go ahead. Take over while we wait
while he is gone, because I've actually been playing a fair amount of things. So still been doing WoW. I actually kept up a little bit with WoW over my trip, which was difficult because I just had my work MacBook.
Yeah.
Which was, just truly awful. I also forgot to bring a mouse with me. I was trying to play WoW, and literally all I was doing was just like world quests. I wasn't doing any instances or anything very sophisticated, but just trying to move around the world on a laptop with a trackpad is just terrible. I'm sure there are probably people that play that way for real, and I don't know how they do it. But yeah, it was all I could do to play WoW for like 30 minutes on that laptop, just to do a world quest and log off. But then, so the new Hearthstone expansion came out. Mean Streets of Gadgetzan just came out on Thursday, and so I bought 50 packs, and then I had enough gold to get like 50 more packs. So I opened up a bunch of those, and I've been playing with a bunch of new decks in Hearthstone. And so that's been fun, like watching streams and seeing people experiment with new decks. The deck archetypes have changed quite a lot with this the new expansion, I think. So that's been interesting. Like Hearthstone, I've been sort of drifting away from Hearthstone over the past few months and not playing it nearly as much as before. But now I'm kind of getting back into it because this new expansion's got some interesting. Like the metagame is already way more interesting than before, in my opinion. But then, so I got, while I did not get anything for like Black Friday or Cyber Monday, because we were out of the country, and also I just I don't know, it just sort of passed us by while we were doing other things, and so I didn't really buy anything, but I did notice Hitman was on sale. The new Hitman, like episodes 1 through 6 was on sale for $30, and I thought that seems like a pretty good price, 6 episodes for $30, like that feels like a lot of content. And I'd heard good things, so I went ahead and picked it up while it was on sale. And this past weekend, I installed it and dove into it. And I don't know, have either of you guys played Hitman?
I have not played it.
Nothing really appeals me about it.
So I think one, Scott, I think it's a pretty good stream game.
Because so I haven't played it, but I have watched some people stream it, and that's what I thought too. I was like, wow, you can really. The shit that goes down is just really entertaining in the ways that you can approach stuff, and obviously fail, which would definitely
it's
with me,
like I haven't really played a Hitman game in earnest before. Like I've dabbled in them. Like I've always thought the concept was really cool, but I've never actually really played any of them very, very much at all. Like maybe an hour or two total across like all the other games in the series. But this one, I thought was like I've been kind of glued to it this weekend, because every scene they set up feels really intricate, like really detailed to me. They're all pretty large, and they all have a lot of different ways that you can kill your target, and they sort of have some suggested ways that sort of nudge you in the more interesting directions, like using some of the set pieces. But like it's even just killing them with like the normal wire or a headshot or something can sometimes be kind of difficult. Like the ways to get to those endings aren't very obvious, and so like the replayability seems pretty high because like there's each one of the levels has a whole bunch of challenges and things. And I'm normally not a guy that goes after achievements and stuff, but all of these different challenges it made me want to replay once I understood the level better. Like I wanted to replay and say, okay, now like I understand all these different things about this, so I can probably do way better this time because like it's a score-based thing.
Right.
And just on the whole, I've been really liking it. And I think for how much content it has, I think $30 was a pretty easy buy for me because I've already probably put, I don't know, 10, 12 hours into it. And I've only done like the first 3, like the training mission and then 3 of the 6 episodes. And I've only really kind of run through each one probably a few times. And I've done, I don't know, 20% of the challenges on those. Like not even remotely come close to actually getting them complete. And the other thing that I thought was kind of cool, but I haven't really had a chance to experience much yet, is they do these like limited time targets that you have to, like, you have one mission to kill them, and if you fail it, like you can't save, you basically can't replay it. Like if you fail that one contract, it's done.
Yeah.
And so like the one this week is this like old lady in Marrakesh. And I thought, I don't know why I actually did this, because I was like, it gives you a little warning that you can only do this once, you can't save, etc. And I hadn't actually played the Marrakesh level, so I wasn't super familiar with where you could and couldn't go, or like what the normal strategies are. But they don't give you any hints to where this person is. So like in the normal Hitman levels, you can use the like your sixth sense sort of thing, and you can see through walls and find where your target is. But this target, like you literally, I was running around the level, could not find her, could not, like that to me was a little bit frustrating, but also I was like, this is pretty cool, because me coming in as a new player, I got bodied, and I accidentally ran into a place that I didn't know I couldn't go, and all of a sudden I was trespassing. And then, like, that's at the point where I would hit escape and I would load my last save, like my last autosave. But there was no autosave to load. So like all of a sudden that was over after I was trying to be super safe with it. So I could see myself coming back to it because I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of these like sort of limited time contracts and stuff.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. That really does sound neat.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying Hitman quite a bit, and so I've like that. I did not expect to like it as much as I have, and it's one of those where I feel like you can easily drop 2 or 3 hours, and then not even having realized it, and that's sort of what happened to me this weekend. Is like all of a sudden it's nighttime, and I've played like once or twice, like 1 or 2 successful contracts. Because you're trying to be so careful. So
cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Katie's back. When it was $30. Katie, can you test?
Hello, testing. Hello.
Sound good to me now. Yeah. Ooh. Very crisp, very clear. Good. Also, I don't know what happened. Your webcam. I don't know what this is. This dinosaur thing I'm looking at, but it's a vast improvement from what was on there before.
Oh, it's this is from an old, I think, Italian cartoon where this abomination goes yee.
Okay.
Like, if you just,
I know I've seen that in the memosphere or something out there, but
it's a grand video. I recommend it.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyways,
so Brandon went while you were gone, but you were talking about Final Fantasy 15.
Yes. Yeah.
Back though. What else have you played? Or I don't know if you had anything to add to it, but
yeah, just one more thing. The new Pokemans came out.
Mm-hmm. Sun and Moon. I've heard good things about it, actually.
Yes, yeah. Those have taken some pretty drastic steps from other Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. Like there are no more gyms, like at all. There are just a bunch of smaller little trials you do. There's some really interesting characters, some actually pretty funny moments, and like the new Pokemon are good. And what's really good is that it's not like it's sticking you strictly to just using the new ones. There's like a great mix of Pokemon from like all 7 generations at this point. And what really did it for me, and like this will sound like a really small thing, but every Pokemon game, I mean, has always been in like a grid kind of setup. Like in X and Y, for example, you can move in 3 dimensions, but when you pressed, up, down, left, right on the control pad, you would go back to that little grid the Pokemon's always been. In Sun and Moon, it's completely 3D, and there's no grid. And then that sounds like such a small thing, but that's what really hit it. It was like, oh my god, this is not even Pokemon anymore. Holy shit! And they're like other changes, like there are no more HMs, which is amazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So instead of having to, like, if you're not familiar, HMs in Pokemon, there'll be like certain environmental like blocks or hazards, like a tree in the way. You need a Pokemon that knows a specific move to cut it down. So you'll always have to keep someone on your team that knows that move, regardless of how shitty that move is. And so that results to a lot of people just having like a couple what are referred to as HM whores on their team that are on their teams like just to do those moves. But yeah, that's been completely changed in Sun and Moon. You actually do this thing where you call in certain Pokemon to like assist you. Like if there are like rocks in the way, you start riding a Tauros, and you start riding that, and you can crash through those. And the same thing with surfing and flying. It's all changed too.
So they're like, what you're saying is that they kind of cleaned up some of the gameplay and annoying stuff. That
absolutely,
yeah,
it's been really refined. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's also it feels like really refreshingly challenging because X and Y were super easy. And I've been playing my file is like a Nuzlocke run, which is where you can only catch one Pokemon for every route that you go into. And if any of your Pokemon faint, you basically have to put them in your PC for the rest of the game. And the idea is that you nickname every Pokemon you get, so like you have a better bond, I guess. For example, I got a Grimer, and his name is Twitch Chat. And there's a lot of oh, and let me tell you about one other thing. I have a Jolteon, okay? His nickname is Travolta. Now, at surface level, that's already super clever because you have Volt, Travolta.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was following.
Okay. It goes deeper. Do you remember the film Bolt with Miley Cyrus about the dog that has lightning powers? Guess who plays the dog? John Travolta.
Oh wow!
Boom.
That is
so glad he did that for just you and yourself.
Yeah, he did it especially for my Pokemon Sun playthrough.
Wow,
Thank you, John Travolta.
That does go deep. I'm gonna say though, that is a huge hole in my movie history that I will have to fix because I have never seen that movie.
Dude, you don't just go binging on Netflix for Miley Cyrus.
I did. You know what's funny is I have over the past, I think I talked about this last week, but I have been just going down nostalgia. Like I'll just turn on Netflix on late at night and watch like some Disney movie from my youth and watch the whole thing. So, but yeah, Miley Cyrus was a little bit past my, or before my, no, after my time, I should say. Though I probably did watch an unhealthy amount for somebody as old as I was, but let's move past that. Well, that's cool. All right, so
yeah.
Any Battlefield 1? Not really. You've been.
No, I haven't. I really need to. I feel like I definitely want to play it, but I never want to play it just by myself. Like,
yeah, no, that's.
I've been spoiled ever since I was in that Discord call with like 20 people.
Yeah,
it's like the only way I can experience Battlefield now. I won't settle for anything less. But the only other thing I've been playing is more Hyper Light Drifter. Because it hit me that I'm tired of having all this art as like my desktop background and phone background to this game that I haven't finished. So yeah, and that
gotta be able to put that index card to the bottom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To the other case. Yeah. The finished case.
It's getting really held up. There are like 2 more. There's a Final Fantasy 15 index card that's gonna take so long to put away. Pokemon Sun especially. This is never gonna happen. I don't know, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, and I will go. The one major game I want to point out that has been a massive surprise for me was, and And a game that I didn't even get a key for, which I probably could have if I had tried, but I was just on a whim. I saw that Watch Dogs 2 was on Green Man Gaming for like $48. So I was like, that's a pretty good deal. And I was thinking about playing it anyway. I didn't play the first game, though I know all the memes about it. I watched like playthroughs of it. But I didn't really have any like high expectations. I figured there would be a lot of cringe. It would be very memey. You know, maybe the gameplay would be okay. So I picked it up and I started playing through it. And for me, it's definitely like the biggest surprise of the year, because I had obviously when you have no expectations going into something, if it turns out to be good, you get surprised. But for like I'm probably like 15, 16 hours into the game, and I've only done maybe like 7 or 8 of the actual core story missions, and I've just been kind of like dicking around with the kind of world that they've set up, the sandbox, and doing a lot of the side stuff, and it's really good. It's really good, and I was kind of blown away by it, and I think, you know, I don't know if like I think they really learned their lesson from Watch Dogs 1, because this game doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's very goofy. It's almost think kind of Saints Row vibe with this game. Okay. Not that over the top all the time, but it's like the characters, the dialogue, the goofy missions. It's very meta. Like there's one mission where you break into the Ubisoft studios to leak a trailer. It's got a mission where you hack a guy who's trying to buy, like it's like the Wu-Tang Clan with Martin Scarelli or whatever his name is. You know, the guy who tried to buy the only copy of the album. There's like a mission with that where you go and you fuck with like a billionaire or a millionaire. And so like there's a lot of stuff that's like clearly has its finger on like the social pulse of what's happening, but at the same time it's like really goofy and it knows that it's being silly, and that it's kind of like, you know, oh yeah, hacker culture, and so that's really refreshing about it. So I think that's one of the reasons that it gets away with doing a lot of the stuff it does. But at its core too, it's a really fucking good PC port. Really? It's probably the best PC port of any console game that I've played, and I played a decent amount this year. Out the gate, it ran really well on my system. It had options. It has literally 6 different video options between full screen, borderless, multi-monitor, full screen, borderless, like shit that I've never even seen games have. It has more options than Battlefield 1 does for my monitors, which is pretty crazy. Full like customization for all the visual stuff. And it runs great. Like I haven't had the game crash a single time, which is pretty crazy. So again, all this surprising because it's Ubisoft, and I never expected any of it. And yeah, it's a really good game. I mean, if you take a look at the scores across the board, I think it's averaging like an 8.5 on Metacritic. And so I really, I can't recommend it enough to pick up. Is just a really fun experience. And the other thing that makes the game really good is that like the skill trees and stuff that you learn basically by getting these like hacker points and as you build out your character are really fun to use and mess with people. So there's like a social tree where you're able to hack vehicles. There's one where you can set a hit out on anybody that you want to. And so like you can just walk around and see somebody that's annoying you or even not annoying you, and then watch it play out as you call a hit out, and then a gang member comes in a car or whatever and shoots them, and then like you get to watch like everybody run around and freak out. You can have people arrested. There's just a lot of they've set up a really good sandbox, and they've added a lot of detail as well. So I never thought I'd be on here being like, I think I sarcastically mentioned something about Watch Dogs 2 the last cast, like, or 2 casts ago, like because Twitch because there's the Twitch integration where you get the hoodie and stuff and the points, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely be playing Watch Dogs 2. And I'm over here like loving it. So really, really solid. Does Watch Dogs 2 have working mirrors and reflections though? See, they've kind of shied away from any reflections in the game at Cantu. So I think they learned from the first game that wasn't their cup of tea. But so I've been playing Battlefield 1, a little bit of Counter-Strike as always. But yeah, really, really having a blast with Watch Dogs. And also one more thing to add too, there's tons of like drone usage, and you get a little RC car and all that's like, it's really instrumental for the side stuff to be able to get like the hacker points, and everything controls really well. Like I said, I'm being sarcastic, but in the Twitter poll before the show, I put Watch Dogs 2 as an option for the KBMOD Game of the Year. And it's definitely not Game of the Year, but if there's a category for surprise of the year, it's definitely Watch Dogs 2.
It should be up there, yeah.
It should be, and I'm actually really excited to see what they do because I think the sales have been pretty good and the reviews have been great. So I'm excited to see what they do with the third game because they're definitely, I'm sure, going to continue with this vibe. So
cool.
So there you go. So that's what we. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I don't want to play Watch Dogs 2 after they patched it and removed the
genitalia stuff.
Yeah, I'm not interested anymore. So.
Yeah, totally. I totally feel you on that. It's definitely disappointing. But there's still a decent amount of nudity. You find a hippie colony at one point, and it's just people. Yeah, and you find a guy. I think it's after the patch, but there's a nude guy who's like doing some gardening work, and when you walk up to him, you can just see his ass. But then they mutilated his penis. I don't know. He almost looks like old Greg. Like it's almost smooth, but not quite. It's terrifying. So they clearly mess with it a bit. But yeah, there's still some nudity, but it's not near as edgy as it was before. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Is that so? Brandon, as a native San Francisco resident, does that seem pretty accurate from what you've heard? Like, is it from what you've seen? Does it resemble what you call home?
What, you mean like people with, genitalia on the streets? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've only been to San Francisco, I think twice, 2 or 3 times, but obviously it's not a fully realized version of it, but it's there was a lot of stuff where I was like, I knew exactly where I was. Obviously there's some big landmarks, but it's certain areas are really faithful to it. And
yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that it's even though it's kind of smaller, it's like a smaller recreation that it does feel a lot like San Francisco, and that people can sort of if you know the city, that you'll recognize where you are, and you can sort of point yourself in the direction to go other places. Which that's actually sounds pretty cool. I may end up picking it up at some point just to kind of explore, and get that feeling, especially if you're. A lot of people have said positive things about it, but I'm surprised that you're so positive on it.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised too. It's definitely one of those games. I understand not wanting to pay $60, but if you see it for if you see it for $30 or something in a Steam sale, to me it would be a no-brainer to pick up because you'll get if you actually are going to invest some time, you'll get your money's worth very easily for $30. So,
I feel like that's kind of my sweet spot for a game, because same thing, Hitman, for $60, I think it's a good game, but $60 would be I take it or leave it, but $30 I feel like it with as much content as there is in a game like Hitman or a game like Watch Dogs 2, you can really get your money's worth out of $30.
Exactly. All right, so that's what we've been doing, what we've been playing. I know it took us a while, but there was a lot, a couple weeks to talk about. So do we want to talk at all? We talked a little bit about this, but did anybody buy anything for Black Friday, Cyber Monday that didn't talk about it in the previous segment? Anything? Any good treats, electronic treats?
It seemed like all the SSDs were on sale. That's all I kept seeing is SSDs on sale all over the place.
I bought a 1070 GTX 1070 for $360, so that wasn't a bad deal. So
okay. That's nice.
For your 360?
No. What?
Oh.
No, $360.
Oh.
Brad's buying gear for his Xbox 360.
He's
gonna play Gears of War
actually
2 on your 1070?
Oh man.
I mean, we know Brad as someone who likes hardware modding. He's taken the 1070 and retrofitting it onto his old 360. So keep an eye out for that.
Imagine how good games could look if you could put a 1070 into an Xbox 360.
I know.
Let's see what we could get out of that.
You might be able to play 720p at 60 frames per second.
You might be able to.
I want to take my 970 and hook it up to my PS1 to see what the old Spyros looked like. Be beautiful. The only thing I really got for Black Friday was from where I work. Got the full Alien anthology on Blu-ray for $12.
Oh,
which is not bad.
Nice. Yeah.
But that was it.
I didn't end up buying. I was gonna. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to make a sarcastic remark that I think at this point, someone would have to pay me to put physical media in my house.
Oh yeah. Some people have that collection mentality, like the physical. They like to see the physical. I get it.
Oh, That's definitely me.
I know.
I talk
I know
to
you
a
are.
lot of people I know say like, why would you buy anything not digital? And it's just
Yeah.
like I remember seeing one thing that I considered. I think it might have been a Kickstarter I wanted to invest in, where it would connect to your Steam library,
Mhm.
and it would have all of your digital games like sitting on a shelf you could walk around. And I'm like, man, I can finally have some kind of physical manifestation
Wait. What?
of.
It connects
Or
to your
was it
Steam
like
library.
I don't know. Part of me feels like it was either it was like
Was
a
it a
display.
projection?
No, it was like a screen that or maybe it was an app that had like a room you walk around in that had
Oh,
like
I see what you're saying. Okay.
I don't know. Might have been
But it's still
something like
not physical because it's just simulating a room, right? With like
I'm
your,
good.
your games.
No, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a bunch of empty cases. I'm gonna print out covers for all my digital games and then set them up just to have. Listen, I'm not insane.
I mean, I get it to a certain extent. There is something. I mean, well, I guess I say I used to get it, but I'm with Brandon too now. Where it's just like I'm not buying any physical. I'm just like less clutter, less like I don't want any. Like I'm even gonna. So I'm gonna. The other thing I didn't mention. Oh yeah, I'm moving. that was a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
Oh
that for a
really?
second.
I'm moving. Yeah. Well, I just should have shared it with because that was tied up with Thanksgiving, but
Just Tab know this?
yes, staff is aware. No, we signed for an apartment in Philly, and we're gonna be moving January 6th, which is about a month earlier than we were going to. But this place that we wanted to get was kind of like we had to basically get it or not at that date. So yeah, so I'm not gonna be. It's about 5 hours. Obviously, Philly's like 5 hours away, so I'm not moving states, but we're gonna be moving back closer to family. So that's gonna be. We're getting ready for the move. But anyway, I just say that to stress that. Like even in my office, I have a bunch of stuff, boxes of like physical copies of games where I'm like, am I going to keep that stuff? Like I don't do anything with it. Like should I just give them to somebody?
I hate having that feeling where you just like when you move, you just look around and you're like, literally, I have not touched this since the last time I moved it.
Exactly.
Not
so
a
I'm
good
gonna
feeling.
hard decisions. I think with some stuff like I don't do
Maybe it's
anything
just
with.
because I'm a child and moving is a concept I've not grasped yet, so I can have all my stuff proudly displayed on my shelf.
You're definitely like an older soul though. You're like one of those.
I think that actually is kind of fair though, because like there are still things that I probably have at my parents' house where like I have a little bit of nostalgia for them, and I wouldn't necessarily want them to just throw it out. But like the stuff that I have, I don't feel that nostalgia for. And so I just I think when you are living on your own, you don't have as many like things that you consider permanent. It's like it's just a bunch of stuff you have, but it's not like you have to hold on to things.
Yeah.
No, that
Hey,
is
Bill,
true.
are you moving closer or further from Indiana?
I mean, you'll probably see me about the same, Katie, regardless. So sorry to burst your bubble. No, dude, that
was good.
You're always welcome.
And that was a very subtle burn.
I know. I was just trying to keep it. No, you should. No, have you ever come to Philly and like seen the? I mean, I'm gonna be way closer to Hard. I'm literally gonna be right. You know, Hardballer is gonna be right in my. I'm gonna be in his neck of the woods again. So,
okay.
You know, I'll probably need some kind of buffer. So if you ever want to visit, we could do stuff together.
Do a LAN party at your place. Sounds
we
good.
can go and yeah, I'm down.
Extra Life next year. We're doing it. We're doing Dark Souls.
Yeah. Well, that's the other nice thing is like, even though like this move is way easier than the California move because California, I just again drove across the country, I sold everything I couldn't fit in my car, and then I had to furnish this apartment. And now this time it's just like I can run a U-Haul, fill it up, and be done in a day, which is really nice.
So you can get better internet? I mean, that's a real question here.
Am I getting better? Well, I'm not going to get better though than FiOS because I already have FiOS. But so I mean, you know, it's just once. But going back is like I'm not dealing with like a DSL connection like you, Brad, right now. So I just couldn't do that. Couldn't go back to that. Okay, so let's talk real quick. I know. Did everybody here watch the Game Awards, or at least some?
I think we all did.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all? Okay. So we got to talk about that. And in case you didn't, don't know what the Game Awards are or didn't watch them, it's a show by why is his name escaping me? Jeff
Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley, thank you. And that he put together. How many years have the Game Awards been going on now? Is it a couple 3 years?
I mean, it's
much longer than that.
Depends on the incarnation you're talking about, because it sort of grew out of the awfulness that was like the Spike.
That's
Video
right.
Game Awards.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say it is now in a place where it's a little more serious, just a little bit, but still not completely. I wouldn't say it's not exactly the Oscars.
No.
Yeah, I just want to kick off things by saying, like, asking, can we talk about the bromance between him?
Oh yeah.
And
that was hilarious.
Oh my god.
It was
just
amazing.
tearing up too.
So
you remember what happened last year, right? Like
yeah. Well, yeah, because he couldn't attend. Yeah. Right.
yeah.
But
I honestly thought that was a little weird. Like,
I thought it was kind of weird
I'm
too.
be completely
very
honest. Like, bringing that onto an awards show where the majority of people watching like are not going to have that sort of affinity or care about that topic at this point. I don't know. It felt a little odd to me.
Well, no, see, I even gave. I think it was a cool thing to do, but the thing it
just went on for a bit too long.
Yeah,
really.
it crossed from like, hey, this is a cool tribute to like, okay, this is going a little long, to like literally stalker territory. And so one thing that was awesome that I do want to comment on, and I think this is the future of Twitch in some ways, is that like the fact that we were able to rebroadcast it and do commentary on it, like that shit is.
Oh yeah, I was actually watching your stream, Scott.
Oh, were you? Okay,
Yeah.
So you heard a lot of my disses about the show, but yeah. So, but I think that was really cool, and I hope there's more forums and opportunities to do stuff like that with not just game shows, but with other media. But yeah, so like we're all watching it together, and one thing I commented on was, there was a point where he's like just telling stories about like how he was trying to get this award to Kojima, right? And he goes, I even at one point, he goes, I even called him. He was in Vegas, and I was like, dude, I'm not doing anything right now. I could drive 3 hours or 4 hours from LA to give you the award. And I was like, wow, okay, now it's weird. Like now this is stalker territory. Like, and yeah, he just kept going and going, and even.
Yeah,
I could tell.
I mean,
Kojima was being very like pleasant, but he was probably like, "Oh God, please just let me get up there and just hand me the award so I can."
I want to point out
Death Stranding trailer, but yeah, it was weird.
I want to point out one thing that may or may not be related, but the day after, Kojima tweets out, I think it was a picture of like, it was some kind of open flame, and it just said, "Got very drunk."
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, that was all Kojima said. A very reserved man. Quote.
I kind of like. So there was a picture that of him with Jeff. I don't know if it was before or after the show, but somebody had retweeted it, and I retweeted it with and they were both like really happy, but they're like hugging each other, and I retweeted it with the text that said post coitus. and then I got nervous because I was like, oh, people might like. Anyway, I was like, I'm not really probably gonna run into Jeff Keighley or Kojima, but I was like, maybe it's a little disrespectful. But I was like, I feel like that's the vibe everybody was kind of getting. It was like, dude, if Jeff has not had Kojima in his mouth, like by the end of that award show, it was,
I was all for.
I mean, it was cool, but yeah, no, I totally agree. The vibe was, it was just kind of odd. It was just kind of weird, and there was a lot of moments in that show too where people were just getting straight up lit up. Like the girl that was doing the VR experience for Assassin's Creed, like God bless her. I forget who it was, but the first one they cut to, the guy's like, she's like yelling into his, clearly yelling, trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Can you, like, why are you yelling?" He's like, "Can you stop yelling?" It's like live on the show, and she's like, "No, we're hype up," and he's like legitimately like annoyed,
concerned,
and concerned, like what is going on? Some great moments there. The Schick Hydro bot.
Yeah, the real star of the show,
was
the Schick Hydro bot.
So a lot of real good cringy moments, but also some real, actually genuine good moments. What were some of your either favorite cringe or
while
like,
we're
enjoyed before
while we're talking about Kojima, just I mean, one more thing I'll say about that. I thought, I mean, yeah, it definitely went far, but I was glad they gave him, the respect that is due, because he's like a really influential guy in games. And then he comes up there and he's talking about Death Stranding. I'm like, yeah, I can't wait. And then he says he brought a gift with him.
Yeah.
A surprise. And I start screaming because I was not expecting a new Death Stranding trailer. And so this plays.
Yeah.
I the second Guillermo del Toro turns around after like, because my thought process, the entire, what is it, like months since E3, I was like, God, I just wish they'd get him on this project. He wants to make a game so badly. He was so like wanted to be PT, so close to that, and then that got canceled. And to see him in this, now I'm not entirely sure if this really confirms his involvement with the series. Which I mean, I really hope it does. I hope he's not just being an actor, some guy for the trailer. I mean, there's got to be meaning to it. It's Kojima, but just like that was one of the best moments of the show for me. Just seeing that. So I mean, that was really cool.
That was I thought that was and it was everything that it was bizarre. It was really well done. It was like, what the fuck are we watching? Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments too. I thought that trailer was fantastic. And yeah, you would think like, I mean, it could just be like, hey, we were working on PT together, it got canceled, we'll just throw him a bone. But you feel like he has to have action. I don't think it's like you said, it's been 100% confirmed. Like, I feel like there has to be some kind of relationship going on there with this.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Just overall, I was pretty surprised with the amount of funding you got, like the production value for stuff, like the stage that they're at. And I was like, a couple times I'm thinking, like, where'd they get all the money for this? And
like, then you realize, then you watch the ads in between, because
Hydrobot.
Hydrobot and all that stuff. I mean, obviously they got to pay the bills and fund it. But
well, they literally were advertising, we are available on every single platform. Like they were pimping out that you could watch it on VR. They were on every live stream. If you wanted to watch it on Hitbox, Twitch, YouTube, whatever, it was like they were there. So I mean, they were ready for that. I was pretty impressed.
The Doom soundtrack live was one of the coolest parts of the show. I thought
that was really neat.
They killed it. Yeah.
I mean, I like the soundtrack. I thought the performance was kind of cringy because it was like, fuck yeah, the one time I'm good be on a stage. Yeah.
But like that's just generally like awards show performances are never like the best live performance. But I'm glad that they invited them on to do that, because that soundtrack is really good. And like I think recognizing those artists instead, like I feel like that's very different from most game soundtracks.
It is.
Well, that was a better performance, I will admit, than the one they had after that with
Black Beatles.
Oh God.
The crowd was not feeling
that
it.
Doom.
Like,
the Doom soundtrack performance was the best musical act of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, RTJ's performance again was like okay, but again, it's like you can't really. Have you ever seen any award show that isn't like based around music, like an actual music show that where you're like, oh, that crowd really, you just don't see it.
And that's why they should stop doing it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think I think I make sense for the because I didn't care that the crowd was cringe or not into it for the. I thought they were okay, like the Doom performance. I enjoyed just seeing.
They seem more into it.
I think stuff like that is fine.
That seemed
like especially when there's a music category or something. But like I didn't really understand the point of having the other two performances aside from. I don't know, like just
from trying to be like, hey, this is like relatable, or like this is the demographic that
exactly. It felt like just checking a box of like, the kids will love this.
Someone in my chat made I wish I had copied it, but it was basically a perfect summation of what we're saying here. Was like, I hate the fucking pandering that award shows do to like the demographic. It's like we're not fucking like you could just fill it with like. Good content around the game and other stuff. Like you don't have to just put in like, because it does feel like just filler stuff. Like not necessarily RTJ, but definitely like fucking black, like for like the Black Beetle. Like I just that was really, it just felt like a super strong stretch. And then they were like, gamers, where are you at, gamer? It's like okay, stop, don't do that, don't. Michael Phelps referencing, like Michael Phelps giving an award, like whatever, that's fine.
Phelps reading off the teleprompter,
and then referencing Call of Duty as like, it's just like stop, like all that shit. It's just like please don't. Oh my God, he's relatable. Michael Phelps, a 50 million gold winning medalist in the Olympics, plays Call of Duty too.
There.
Holy
Did you guys
shit.
catch the comment that Vince Sampella made when he was presenting the award?
Oh yeah, I think
that was amazing.
That was amazing. Yingity actually wrote it out. This is a category where we get to compare competitive racing games like Forza to quirky party racers like Mario Kart. This category is great. Let's keep it this way. Like,
Yeah, he's like, yeah, this is a really great category, guys. Yeah, we'll
The
just keep it
stress.
this. Like, just the way he said it, I'm like, wow, like
Yeah.
that was not probably not rehearsed.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, it
definitely.
was like you could feel the condescension coming when he probably he had like practiced he had practiced like the thing he would say to introduce the category, and then like his real feelings just very slightly came out, and he couldn't curb
yep.
it.
It was great. And then
yeah. So I
yeah,
thought
it was-
that Dragon Cancer
oh
win
yeah,
was
That was
amazing.
great,
I
yeah.
thought that was probably one of the best acceptance speeches I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah,
just as like it was just so well done, so well said.
absolutely.
But yeah. So
Did you
overall,
guys-
like I feel like that was probably the best Game Awards that has existed so far, right? The best iteration, maybe, like not perfect, but
I
starting.
feel like
I think last
No.
year
they
was
kind of
good, too.
legitimized it as far as like award shows go. Like I
Yeah.
felt like that was a very legit, like I don't
No,
know,
Joel
made it
McHale?
serious.
Kyle,
you know?
though, we didn't talk about Kyle. Oh my fuck! Can somebody?
Kyle.
Kyle,
was
the
Kyle.
other host, the other host.
Oh, that was his name. Oh my god.
somebody.
how'd they let
Is,
there?
is he playing a? Is his sole purpose? Like even the opening sketch they did with him, and then every time it was like, is he the token? Is he playing a character that he's supposed to be like the cringe, awkward nerd, or is that just his style? Because I honestly don't know.
God.
Every
And when
time
he was
he's
doing
on, I
the
was like,
VR
what are they doing? Like, why?
when he put on the VR headset.
VR headset.
Oh my god.
He was on screen. I was just like, what? Why? But maybe the joke's on us. Maybe I'm like, am I missing a meme? I was wondering that like as we were watching it, where I'm like, maybe it's supposed to be this cringy. But I don't know. That was pretty painful.
Did you
The-
guys
the
agree with
second-
the awards though? Like as far as like best game of the year and stuff
Also,
like
do we
that?
want to
yeah,
run
let's
through
jump
them real
into
quick?
news.
Yeah, let's run through
Yeah.
them real fast.
So
Sure.
I'm just gonna go in order of what I see here on the Polygon page. So game of the year, they rated Overwatch game of the year against Doom, Inside, Titanfall 2, and Uncharted 4.
What
I
is
think-
Titanfall 2 doing up there? Was it really that good?
I've heard good things, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think there was much chance that won against the other stuff on the list.
Right. Why Titanfall 2 is an EA title? Why not Battlefield 1 in that case, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know.
100%.
I don't know. This Battlefield 1 seems like a bit of an odd omission, but
Yeah,
I think
Overwatch. I feel
Overwatch.
like-
I mean, Overwatch has had all the headlines this year. Like that doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah.
I know that some people wouldn't consider Overwatch their game of the year, but like I think Overwatch is pretty. Overwatch is hard. It's hard to argue with like the cultural impact Overwatch has
Totally.
made.
I can understand from a logical perspective why Overwatch won, and even like I understand like it's but for me it's not logical why I have a disdain for Overwatch. Overwatch just for me feels like one of those it's just changes. They should change this to overexposed is what they should call Overwatch, because I just feel like everybody's like constant. Not that I even think the game's bad or anything. People like to give me shit about this, but I was just like, oh my god, I'm just so sick of hearing about it. And that's just it's not Overwatch's fault really. But I was just like, oh, you got to be fucking. And then it won Esports Game of the Year, which I thought, again, okay, you can look at the categories, but I'm like, really? Esports Game of the Year with like, it doesn't have a proper like spec client, like the way when you watch it. I think that's one of the things that obviously they're trying to work on, but Overwatch definitely has an issue as far as like spectating it. And, you know, and people will just be like, oh, you're salty because Counter-Strike didn't win. No, I don't care. I don't give a shit that Counter-Strike didn't win anything or whatever else, but, and some of these awards are fan voted on too. I think esports and stuff was fan voted, so it's not even like
Yeah.
critics.
Yeah.
So it's different, but
Yeah, overall, like just from what's up
like-
there, I think Uncharted 4 and Doom, I feel like are really, really qualified. Overwatch, maybe that's it's just some part of me that feels like a multiplayer only game. I mean, it's 2016. It could definitely win Game of the Year.
yeah,
But
that's true. I didn't even
think-
think about
I
it
don't
being multiplayer only. That is another portion.
I think it depends on the lens with which you look at the phrase game of the year through, because
Yeah.
like if you look at it, if you're, I think the other awards like capture various aspects, but game of the year to me can mean a lot of different things to different people. And like I think Overwatch, like you look at Overwatch in terms of the effect it's had on, you know, on the gaming space. I feel like Overwatch has had way more impact than these other games, except for
Yeah.
maybe
Well, they've done a lot with Overwatch. I mean,
Yeah.
they've created shorts. They have this expansive universe for
I
their
mean, the fact,
characters
you know,
that
the
they're
fact that
building
like
upon.
Yeah.
the fact that like there's tons of Overwatch cosplay. There's all sorts of. I mean, there's Overwatch merchandise. Like Overwatch is like a in the gaming world. It's like a Pokemon Go type phenomenon where even people that don't play Overwatch know about Overwatch. I don't think you can really say the same about that for most of the other games on this list.
Yeah, because some of these are very influential. We have to think of the games outside of the actual platform of like how it influences people and what they do, what they like, what they watch.
Right. I think
like,
that's why I would actually agree. Like with these entrants, I would agree that Overwatch wins this category for me.
I think the other thing is too, we have to think about this as a global influence as well. Like I think Overwatch overseas is actually a lot bigger than it is here.
I
in
mean,
the
it's huge
States.
in it's huge in Korea. Like it's had a big effect all over the world. Whereas I think, I mean, like let's just take Titanfall 2 for instance. Like Titanfall 2 is not making waves, you know, in foreign markets.
Right.
Or
Oh yeah,
anything.
of course. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the weakest. That was
Yeah.
probably maybe the weakest in the game of the year, other than was Hyperlight Drifter. Not that it's a bad game, but I don't think there was any chance that was going to win.
Well, it's not. That's not the
It
game
just
of the year
wasn't as
category. That was a
popular.
different category.
Oh, that was different.
It wasn't up for the game of the
Yeah.
year.
And then
So
Inside, I feel like that was just throw some indie game up there. Inside was a damn good game, but just not game of the year
yeah,
material.
I don't.
you know?
Again, I don't see how that ever would have won this category.
Yeah, exactly.
Best game direction, Overwatch also won, or Blizzard won. I guess they give the award to the developer
Studio.
No,
studio.
hold on. I thought
So Blizzard won for Overwatch, and then the other nominees were DICE for Battlefield 1, id for Doom, Naughty Dog for Uncharted 4, and Respawn for Titanfall 2. It's weird to me that like this is basically the same list except DICE for Battlefield 1 instead of
Right.
Inside. But I
which is
don't
a much better.
I don't actually even really know what best game direction means.
Yeah.
but
it's kinda
yeah,
bad.
but
I'm
I don't
thinking
think
about
Overwatch
that.
would have won that for me. Like,
Yeah.
I think Overwatch is a well executed game with like that's made a lot of smart decisions. But I think there are other games that like when I think of game direction, probably would have beaten Overwatch out.
So
Yeah,
game
how well
direction,
can you direct a multiplayer only game? You know?
according to them, is recognizing a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction design. So
Okay, I mean, well, maybe then. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure how different these two awards are. Like game direction, like you're sort of setting up the person, they're the game to win game of the year by giving them best game direction. So, I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe-
I mean, obviously with awards, when you're, I mean, this is just like when we used to do years ago when we would have like, you know, we'd have very rigorous debates on, you know, like, because like you said, it really is, it can be so subjective. And it's not saying that these other games aren't, you know, obviously, but you have to pick a winner. So it's
yeah, and with something where you're giving an award to a studio, it's like,
yeah,
okay, I guess the studio that made the game of the year also wins like the best studio award.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's true.
So let's keep moving on. Best narrative, the winner was Uncharted 4,
okay,
Yeah,
which I didn't play, but I suppose I could see that. Like the Uncharted games are generally known for strong narrative.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, APL and I both played Uncharted 4.
I like
and
Uncharted 4 a
thought-
lot. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Best art direction was Inside.
I mean, Inside, don't get me wrong, it accomplishes exactly what it set out to do visually. It's creepy. It's like you're playing through a nightmare. But you're really going to have it win best art direction over a game as stunning as Abzu or Uncharted 4? That game,
Uncharted 4
looks
is
like-
incredible looking
oh yeah,
on a console, and it runs amazing too.
Yeah,
it really does.
I was really surprised. Also, again, I was surprised Battlefield got stuck. I mean, again, some strong contenders, but
Oh my god.
did Battlefield
yeah,
win
that's-
anything at all?
No,
It got snubbed every category. I
yeah,
think.
it didn't win anything.
that's
Like
crazy.
for me, like I
Battlefield
mean, I
won.
guess I didn't play Doom, and I know that the music and sound design is really good.
Yeah,
So I'm probably fine
keep
with
moving
Doom
on.
winning.
Best music, sound design. The winner is
Yeah.
Doom. I haven't played all the other games here, but I would agree with that because Doom. That's one of the things that stood out to me in the single player of Doom is like the sound and the music is just an actual perfect fit for the Doom atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm okay with it losing there to Doom. I think if Doom wasn't in that category, Battlefield takes that pretty easy.
Yeah, I think like that's not ever the category I would have picked Battlefield 1 to win any year.
No.
Best performance, the winner was Nolan North as Nathan Drake in Uncharted 4. So, makes sense.
From what I missed his acceptance speech, but from what I understand, he took a stab at people that were on strike there's strikes going on right now for people that are narrating games, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, his speech, he was addressing that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, he definitely.
It kind of came off to me. I mean, I could be wrong. I might have to pay more attention to it, but it came off to me as more of like raising awareness about that issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I probably interpreted it wrong.
Games for Impact, the winner was That Dragon Cancer, which, like we said, that acceptance speech was quite stirring.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and I think that, I mean, definitely an impactful game. I haven't had a chance to play it, but I've heard and read very good things.
Yep.
Best independent game, the winner was Inside, which I guess makes sense because they were nominated for Game of the Year. So, I haven't played it, but yeah,
pick it up on sale. It's good. It's $20. It's 3 hours. Get it on sale.
Okay, I mean, now that I've heard more about it, I probably will be on the lookout for it. Best mobile handheld game, Pokemon Go. That seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Best VR game was Res Infinite, which
I've never even heard of. But
yeah, I mean that's I guess kind of a thin category, but mostly games I've heard of. I mean like Job Simulator, Eve Valkyrie, those are those are well-regarded games, but not a ton of stuff in that space at the moment. Best action game, Doom won that, so Battlefield 1 was in the contention for that.
Yeah,
and I think best action game like Battlefield easily could have taken that category. That's basically one of those where like it's just a toss up. I mean,
right.
Best action game is like just pick the game that fits the type of action you're looking for. I mean, between Battlefield, Doom, Gears of War 4, Overwatch, and Titanfall 2, that there's like some very, very different types of action game in that category. So
yeah, it's pretty broad.
Hard to pick an objective winner.
Were you surprised by this next one, best action/adventure game?
Yeah,
Dishonored 2.
Yeah,
I was really surprised by that.
I mean, I heard it was good. It just doesn't make sense considering Uncharted 4 was nominated for.
That's
Game
what
of
I'm
the Year.
saying. I was like, when we were calling this, I was like, Uncharted 4, easy lock. I was like, there's no way Dishonored 2. So
that does surprise
I heard
me.
it's good,
like
but
Dishonored 2 was not nominated for really anything else.
No.
I don't think so. That is kind of an odd win. And also, like having played Hitman, I think Hitman's a decent contender there too. But yeah, Dishonored 2 taking best action adventure game. Best RPG, Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine. I guess is that the DLC or is that the...
Yeah, it's the expansion. They awarded this to the expansion of the game. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I have no opinion.
I thought it was actually for the whole... Okay, that changes it a little bit.
I have no opinion because, again, best RPG... Look at the games in this category: Witcher 3, Dark Souls 3, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, World of Warcraft Legion, and Xenoblade Chronicles. Like those games are so different. Why even this is to me this is kind of a nonsensical category. Like any category that's going to pair like Witcher 3, a fully single player RPG, up against World of Warcraft, like those are fundamentally different experiences.
Yeah,
I don't
especially in the description.
Yeah, I don't think you can call like an objective winner across those games. And like, I mean, even Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, like that's a very different game too. That's not. I don't even know that I consider that an RPG.
Both offline, online, including massively multiplayer. That sounds like 2 or 3 different categories that should have been.
See, this is basically. I know we have some old podcasts, like our old awards podcast, where we go through like the difficulty in creating categories, and I think RPG was one of them, because if you just say RPG, you're sort of lumping in online and single player, but like those two categories sort of have to be different, because an MMO is such a wildly different experience than single player RPGs. I'll throw that result out. Best fighting game, I was surprised at this one, Street Fighter V.
Really?
Because
you're surprised?
I'm surprised because it may be like the biggest name on this list, but it has like not been. It has been a little bit of a rocky road for Street Fighter V this year.
Yeah,
I think like best fighting game. I'm surprised that that would win. Just based
I think
off
against
of
these other ones, though, I don't think King of Fighters ever had a chance. I mean, Killer Instinct has decent, is like a good game, but I don't think it had a chance.
Yeah.
No, I've never played. I haven't played King of Fighters.
Right. I mean, it may just be the result of like kind of a weak category, like a weak set of nominees this year. But man, that's like Street Fighter V has had a lot of issues this year, so still winning best fighting game is a little surprising.
Yeah, just considering its competition, I feel like it's a show-in.
Yeah. Best strategy game, Civ 6 won that. I think that's not surprising. New Civ game that a lot of people like. Seems like a shoe-in. Best family game, Pokemon Go. That's
I didn't really.
Whatever.
If it gets your mom to play it more than you do, then yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense it makes sense to win. Best sports / racing. This was the this was the one that got a little bit of a jab, but actually, like the doesn't. I feel like that jab actually isn't relevant this year in particular, because the nominees were FIFA, Forza Horizon, MLB The Show, NBA 2K, and Pro Evolution Soccer. So like all of those, none of those are like zany party games. Those are all sort of like more realistic simulation sort of games.
Yeah. At the same time, I think sports and racing are there completely separate categories.
That's true. I think you look at like the racing genre. Like, are there enough strong entrants in racing every year?
Yeah. No, it's been slowly, honestly, like dying out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and honestly, sports too. Like, I think the sports category, like trying to objectively rate the newest NBA game compared to the newest FIFA game is like,
it's pretty,
I don't know. Yeah, this category is sort of meshing in a lot of different things that are sort of objectively hard to rate together. So Forza Horizon 3 won that category. Best multiplayer was won by Overwatch. And that one doesn't surprise me, but again, Battlefield 1 was up for that. I think Battlefield 1 could have won that one. Surprising nominee in that category was Overcooked, which like
what is this?
That is true. Overcooked's in here. I didn't even see that.
I mean,
from what I've heard is good, but I'm surprised.
That's like, again, well, we keep coming back to the fact that these categories are sort of putting. You're trying to fit a lot of different things into a finite number of categories, but multiplayer and co-op, like Overcooked is not multiplayer. It's a co-op game, and it's a good co-op game, but it's just like not remotely in the same vein as any of these other entrants. So I don't think it would have a chance to win. But I think Overwatch, I mean, that's not surprising. Most anticipated game, Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
Which, I mean, I guess most anticipated game, that's ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers. So, and then the trending gamer one, I don't even, part of me doesn't even want to like acknowledge this as a category, because it's sort of just like fan service sort of stuff. But Bogey 2988 won that, which I don't think is like a bad choice, but I just think the category in general.
It was an interesting group of people that they put in for that.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Just the description for this category: a streamer, influencer, or media member who has made an important impact on the industry in 2016. When's the last time we've heard of Angry Joe show in like the recent gaming news.
I know.
Or Jacksepticeye.
I mean, yeah.
And no offense to Lyric, but I mean, he has a ton of viewers, but I don't really see him as making an impact in the industry.
Person that really comes close is Danny O'Dwyer. I mean, I don't really think he's even qualified. I think just him by himself. I think No Clip as a whole should have been nominated because I really like that idea. The Rocket League documentary they did was fantastic, and I think the idea of doing that for a bunch of different developers is a good idea. So, I mean, that's an important impact.
Yeah, I think like what I would love to see out of this category, if they want to stick to that as kind of the criteria, the voting criteria, is like the person or whatever, sort of the person at the helm of that, and then the example of the thing they have done. So like Danny O'Dwyer, and like he would be nominated because of his work for No Clip, like the documentaries that he started doing. Like giving examples for why they are in the category, that would make me like buy into it a lot more, because I sort of agree that I can't think of, for the others in the category, I can't think of like what the impact they made in 2016 was, aside from just having large audiences. So kind of an odd category.
That would be helpful.
Also, I don't know what list you guys are on. I'm on the Game Awards website, but of all the screen grabs to get a boogie, this is like the most. You get a mid-sentence, mouth open, like just a very uncomfortable like. Then you put that on the website representing that person. That pisses me off.
Oh man.
Anyways,
okay. And then I think the last. Well, there's so these were fan voted ones. I think the Trending Gamer one was fan voted as well, right?
Yeah.
So there was Best Esports Player. Coldzera won that from.
By the way, they showed the wrong person. They showed Fur and not Coldzera. So,
who?
Funny. They showed Fur. Really? Yeah, in the clip.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Best Esports Player is again just completely up for interpretation.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that they did put a StarCraft player in there. Like that seems like an odd choice, but Best esports team, the winner was Cloud9. Best esports game, the winner was Overwatch. So,
just one more thing about esports player. Like, I can see how this is fans' choice because I feel like a lot of people come on here voting and they just immediately click for CS:GO. Because I really think I really think Hungrybox should have taken this. Like, I follow a lot of people that were backing him, and just going through my timeline on Twitter, and I follow a lot of people with like a lot of different interests. Everybody's rooting for Hungrybox, and then Coldzera takes it. I really feel that, being fans' choice, it was easy for just CS:GO to take this.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a letdown because Hungrybox was talking about how he prepared like a speech for it, and everything.
Like, arguably, I think that these categories actually are the ones that need judges the most, because the fans' choice sort of turns these into meaningless votes, whereas I actually think that there is some interesting debate about who the esports player of the year would be, and you could sort of stack up. We were talking about this before the cast, but you could sort of stack up the accomplishments of like Hungrybox, right? He plays a one-on-one game. Infiltration plays a one-on-one game, but trying to compare those against like Faker and Coldzera, right, that play on 5-person teams. How do you compare those in an objective way? And I feel like you're kind of right, KD, that just if you leave it up to the fans, then you're just kind of they're gonna vote on the game and not necessarily the player. But I don't know that I would agree that that's like that Coldzera is the one that made the biggest like impact as a player in 2016. But fan votes are always going to be kind of funny. So that's all the Game Awards. But there were also announcements and stuff at the Game Awards. We want to get into some of the things that got announced or shown there.
Yeah.
Scott, do you want to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series?
Oh my god, don't trigger me, man. Oh my god, please no.
That's a big discussion.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the pre-show a bit, before we were live actually, and I just, I don't know if I've done as much of a 180 as I have on the Telltale games with any franchise, because I used to be like down for it, but I'm like over. I think a lot of it is that they're still using the same shitty engine that they've been using on all these games. The animation and everything else, it just looks terrible, and the luster started to really wear off. Like, yes, they do generally. Telltale has a gift at, sometimes writing decent stories and twists and characters, but I've kind of like transitioned over from the idea of like, these aren't really games. Your choices really don't impact much, and I would much rather like just watch this on Netflix or something than be charged whatever it's going to be, like, $30. I don't know how much it's going to be for this stuff, and I just am over it. I just stop.
Telltale must just be like really cheap or something, and I feel like these studios are like, just to cover all our bases, we need a game. Who can we talk to? And they're like, oh, Telltale would be great for this. They're really cheap or something, and they really appeal to younger kids, like our target audience, according to someone. And that's just all they do without doing any research, in my opinion. Because, like, honestly, I could think of a bunch of different publishers or something that might make an actual fun Guardians of the Galaxy game, but instead I'm stuck with Telltale. Like, that's not what I'm in watching Guardians of the Galaxy for like interactive, like adventure movie of some sort. I'm not in it for like trying to be Chris Pratt and making like, which pun do I make in this scenario?
Right? Like, you don't want to be Chris Pratt and make puns? Come on.
I just don't. I don't see the appeal here. So
I think
so.
I think you actually made me think of something that, like, the Telltale games, because they do follow that same sort of formula each time, that they sort of live and die by the quality of the narrative they're telling.
right.
And if that's not like amazing, like it has been in a couple of their earlier games, right? If that narrative is not incredible, then you're just sort of like going through the motions. And I think you're right, Scott. Like, the narrative has to be good enough that you make people want to be the player in it, instead of just leaning back and watching it like a movie or a cartoon or something. Yeah. And like, it maybe feels like the safer choice for some of these IPs, because thinking about, all they have to do is make a good script. Like, it's a script that branches in a lot of different ways, but it's really just a script. Whereas, like,
that's what I'm saying.
If you want to make an actual game around your IP, we know how that goes. Like, a lot of those games, like, the mechanics are garbage. The actual game is not very good. Whereas maybe the Telltale formula feels safer to those IPs, because they say, okay, we know that people are, they're just going to deal with this point and click style. And if we make a great narrative, people are going to buy the game. And like, I think that will, I don't know, that will get stale. Like we were talking about, because you're just like, there's no novelty at a certain point. You're just kind of going through the motions and then wondering, why am I playing instead of just watching this?
Right. And by the same token, be like, oh, they write great stories or whatever. Like, yes, absolutely. But there's a lot of games that have great stories and also have incredible gameplay, like Uncharted or, you know what I mean? And so that argument really falls apart pretty quickly. I'm not saying, like, I understand why people enjoy them. They're more casual, like it's relaxing, and they're not bad stream games, especially if like you're playing an episode that nobody's seen before. So I'm not trying to shit where I eat, but I mean, trust me, I got, I didn't shit where I eat. I got shat on where I eat with Minecraft Story Mode and playing that whole thing. and I think it just made me realize, I don't know, maybe it just gave me a kick in the gut and a bit of a reality check. And so I don't know. I just am. Yeah. And like, even with the Batman thing, where like, Katie, you were talking about the Batman, and I was like, I played the first episode and I was like, it's just more Telltale fucking shit. Like, again, it's not terrible. The story's okay, but I'm just like, it's just more that I just don't care. There's nothing to keep me coming back to this, because it's like, oh, I know there's going to be twists, and it's whatever. There's no gameplay.
You're right. I mean,
again, I'm not Katie. You can still play. Hey, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just
I know. I'm just And part of me, I totally agree with what both you guys are saying. I mean, there's just some part of me that's saying like, I mean, they're on a decline, for sure.
Yeah.
But I still think Telltale's capable of making games like, well, I mean, they have yet to. What am I trying to say? I'm really hoping they can still make games as good as Tales from the Borderlands or you know, The Wolf Among Us. But I get what you guys are saying. Like they're borderline not games. You know why?
And I think those
aside
games
from
worked. Yeah.
Aside from
Yeah,
like the
not,
one optional character death, you know, then why would you not just watch the, you know?
Exactly. And I think a lot of it for me too is like I think those games work. Not that you can't go back and play Wolf Among Us and be like, hey, I really enjoyed the narrative, but I think that Telltale was still relatively on the up and up. You know what I mean? Like it was like kind of new. You know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
Not that they didn't make games before, but you were like, oh, this is kind of a different approach. And now after I don't know how many they've done, you're like,
yeah, it's getting
okay,
older.
it's the same engine, the same approach, and the choices really don't matter, and there's really no gameplay.
Yeah, it's how many other games give stories as good as these through other means that aren't just simply picking what to say or hitting, you know, the attack button at the right time?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of I wonder if we like if people would look as favorably on like season 1 of The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us if they came out today, like if they came out now after a whole bunch of other games that had utilized that kind of Telltale point and click formula, because it's like eerily coincidental that, you know, season 1 of The Walking Dead many people revere as like awesome story, you know, really good game, but then also like, was it a product of the time where we weren't used to that and like kind of tired of that as the place they go for every single game they make, you know?
I imagine there's someone out there that's like, God, I can't wait for Mass Effect, the Telltale series. And
they're probably
like, Mass Effect gives you those same kind of choices already.
And with actual gameplay.
Yeah, you're just asking for a dumbed down game of what, you know, could be made.
Like, do you realize that there's a kid out there whose first experience ever is literally going to say, what was the first game you ever remembered really enjoying? And they're going to say, fucking Minecraft story mode. I'm not kidding. Some kid was bought that game by their parents thinking, oh, this will be good. And then they've started off like, you know, I don't know, like if we make the analogy about like in life where, you know, some people start with, you know, on the 50-yard line with 4 downs, and some people start at their own 1-yard line on the 4th down. Like that kid is fucked. Like that's so unfortunate. Like I'm really upset about that.
I gotta tell you guys, I failed pretty recently working at like video game retail.
Did you tell someone to buy Minecraft story mode? KG?
No. Even worse. I did the opposite and I failed. There were a couple elderly parents came in the store. They really wanted to get Minecraft for their child on the PlayStation 4. And I searched and we're out of stock. They're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just get this Minecraft story mode. Okay. And I'm like, ma'am, you know, this is me coming to you as a person, not as an employee. There are plenty other games you can get for your kid that are just great to play at that age. And it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. They'll like it anyways. It's Minecraft. They'll eat it up. I'm like, ma'am, you don't want to do this. You're going to set your child down the wrong road in their life. But I wasn't enough. And she bought it.
No, but see, you at least try. At least if you try to talk her out of it, I mean, you did your job. I mean, I mean, as much as it is a sad,
that was my Telltale game moment. Like, I failed that encounter.
Yeah, no, that's true. But you know what? Even if you had somehow the in true Telltale form, even if the encounter had played out differently, the result would have been the same. And if she didn't get it there, she would have gotten it somewhere else. And that really brings us back around to why it all is fuel.
Opens
anyway,
up Bloodborne on Christmas Day, and it's like, I wanted Minecraft.
I mean, let's be honest. They were getting Minecraft on console anyway, so there was no saving that kid.
That's true. Yeah, he's done for.
Exactly. I do like the mental image of just imagining you when she says, I would like, you know, I would have loved
to see her face.
And then and she says like, oh, that's fine. I guess just Minecraft story mode. That's fine. And just thinking about you saying, ma'am, I really, there are other games. We have so many other games. Like,
yeah, and like it was tough. It was tough because part of me was like, I can't tell her basically not to buy this because I don't want to lose the sale. You know,
Yeah.
I still want her money, but I mean, I failed.
Oh, capitalism wins again.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway,
That's a
so
crazy story.
Let's talk about some of the other things at the Game Awards. This Rocket League made a kind of a big announcement. They talked about they're going into space.
oh, I missed
basically.
this. Oh,
Yeah.
let me find this.
And then Mass Effect had a reveal trailer for their gameplay, which all the fans were pretty hyped about.
Yeah. It looked very expansive, which
It looked like a Mass Effect that I could get into.
Mhm.
Like the combat system, everything looked really, really fun, and they made it about that kind of, less about the story because they didn't want to reveal too much.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I can't play Mass Effect, the current Mass Effect series, because one bores the shit out of me. But but this new one coming out looks pretty interesting to the point where I'm like, okay, this seems up my alley. It's basically No Man's Sky with the Mass Effect.
that's what we kept saying in the chat. I was
Oh,
like,
the
no
trigger.
Man's Sky? Like, kind of like just as traveling to all the different, like, collecting resources, traveling to different worlds, like the ships. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's
What a copy.
Yeah.
The new Zelda had a pretty good demo as well.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
God. We forgot
it
to
was
talk about that.
it was presented in a bit unorthodox way. It was kind of a let's play featuring Bill Trennan of Nintendo and some other schmuck from the Nintendo Treehouse.
They just played a YouTube video for like 5 minutes.
It was
Yep.
the most bizarre. I don't know how that passed. Like, we were talking about that with my chat so much. I was like, how the fuck do they let this be the Zelda demo? I was like,
Yeah.
they could have gotten PewDiePie. They could have gotten anybody, somebody that has any business. Like, I understand
Bill
that they work for
Trennan?
Nintendo.
You get Bill Trennan? Why didn't you get Reggie up there playing it? You get the most
Even get
least-
Reggie. It would have been
Yeah.
more entertaining.
I mean, I'm
Or
not
even,
saying-
and then they so the jokes were falling flat. There was zero chemistry. They were clearly awkward and it was
Oh, yeah.
terrible. And like, they don't even put a bed of music underneath of the thing at
Throw
all.
me up
Like, to
there.
even
I'll play the game.
do anything. It was so terrible. Yeah. I mean,
Although
again,
I think the worst part was they were playing it on the Wii U, and that
Yeah.
thing was struggling to play even 30 FPS.
yeah.
you could say struggle.
And that's what made me like cringe. It was like, like you guys couldn't have used it on the Switch, like the new console coming out. But
Even if it, yeah, I mean, God, like, what a way to get hyped up for something and then just present it in just the least interesting way you could think
that
of.
was basically like a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, I didn't really. I mean, I'm not a Nintendo fanboy, but I know people that were super excited. So, like you, Katie. So that's what you felt too when you were watching. We were just like,
You know, when I'm
excited by
watching
the
it, I'm
gameplay
trying
stuff
to.
you saw, or were you too distracted by how horribly it was presented to really?
I found myself able to tune it out pretty well. I mean, I was just trying to strictly focus on the gameplay and like things that were being shown that we didn't see in previous demos before. So just when I was like only thinking about like that isolated thing and not focusing on just like as if I was watching a YouTube channel with 10 subscribers of some kid playing with his dad, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
But,
That's honestly what it felt like.
that's what it was.
Almost, yeah, it feels like they went and found a channel, like an up and coming, like, Let's Play YouTube channel with like these two dudes who, like, everyone, they're like, dude, we really want to do this project for a long time.
Play?
Dude, we work great together. We really bounce off each other. And then it's just like, you're watching it has like 3 views, and you're like, this is the worst. This is awful. This is
There's
terrible.
one-
Somebody needs to
there's
tell
like
these guys to stop. They don't
0
have it.
likes, 1 dislike, 1 guy in the comments. This is great. You should make more. Why aren't you more noticed?
Oh man, someone needs to make a video. Somebody needs to make like a video of taking this shot from the Game Awards or the video and putting it, like you said, into that with graphics onto YouTube with like a dislike and 1 comment and stuff. Because that's where it should be, Katie. You're right. Oh
That'd
man,
be good.
that's painful. But so yes,
other than that, they announced Prey. Had a trailer for that. Bulletstorm full clip trailer for that. Dauntless.
Oh man, that was the first thing I saw when I turned on the live stream. I was seeing Bulletstorm gameplay, and I thought, like, did I accidentally click on the wrong link? Is this the 2007 Game Awards?
And
Yeah,
there is no greater barometer of how over people are of Randy Pitchford than him standing there and then talking about that Duke Nukem is a playable character in this the remaster whatever it is of Bulletstorm, and literally zero. You could hear a pin drop from the crowd, and like he was saying it like he was like, dude, this is gonna be cool, and we put in the voice. Zero reaction, like from anybody. And I know it was at the beginning of the show, so maybe people weren't paying attention, but I like to think people were voting with their voices there and being like, just fucking stop with Duke Nukem. Nobody cares. At least maybe people care, but I don't care. And I think most people feel that way.
Nah, I think that franchise has been killed a few years ago, honestly. But
killed many times over.
Yeah.
Anyway. So what else? I think pretty much those were the main things.
Yeah, that's about it. Shovel Knight, I think they announced a prequel. I didn't notice anything groundbreaking there. I mean, a lot of people like Shovel Knight. I think if you enjoyed the first one, I didn't see any reason you wouldn't like this one. But not much more to talk about there. Halo Wars 2, I think that's coming out relatively soon. Walking Dead Season 3, we already went over that pretty thoroughly. I think that's about it.
One more thing I want to add just about Game Awards in general. Like Del Toro on Twitter said some pretty notable things. He said, "Fuck Konami" in all caps.
Yeah,
like
great.
In like a quoted tweet of one of the trailers, and then went on to say, "Canceling Silent Hills is one of the most moronic things I've ever witnessed." Which, I mean, he's not wrong. But it's just not to see someone involved on it.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to just put out there. Like at
this
this
going
point.
in. Yeah.
He says what we're all thinking.
But that's the thing. It's like we were maybe thinking it a year ago. Like I just think that conversation is completely past now, and that's not to. We don't have to rehash this, but that it felt to me like sort of going back to the Kojima thing and like referencing back to all of that stuff from last year. I was like, this stuff's not relevant anymore, right? Like, who actually cares about that saga at this point?
We're at the point where he's free.
Like, yeah,
Konami has
Like, I get it. He went through all that, but like that's all in the past now. He's now making a game. Like, let's focus on the game. Not the like thing that got canceled and the drama around all of that. Like that was the topic for last year, and they talked about it at last year's Game Awards. Like it felt like devoting any time or energy to that just struck me as a little odd. And like Guillermo del Toro tweeting at later, it's like, man, how are you still worked up about that a full year later? Anyway.
I mean, it's not like
his Twitter account.
They're continuing. It's not like Konami has stopped being a bunch of shitters since then. They announced Metal Gear Survive. They're doing a full remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 and the Fox engine for a pachinko machine. I mean, stuff like that. That's pretty relevant stuff, but I still get what you're saying. Like, it's a dead meme, Del Toro.
Well, I mean, what are you hoping to gain by, like, tweeting that or bringing that up? It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't think a whole lot of people in the Western world have like high regard for Konami in 2016. I think you're kind of preaching to the choir. But what's done is done, and like he's making a new game. The guy's in a good place. It doesn't seem like he's not hurting. So, anyway, that was the Game Awards. I think it was a pretty fun show, even with all the some of the weird moments and cringe moments and that sort of thing. But it was, I enjoyed my couple hours with it. And I hope that they continue trying to make it something, more like a little more serious in terms of like the quality of the awards. And like I would love, like we mentioned, I would just love to see them in the future making like some of the esports related awards and like trending gamer, things like that. Like I would love to see those turn into actual awards where like they sort of have some rigor around them instead of just like pure clear fan service. Because I think that's the thing that will keep them from being really mainstream is people tuning in at the wrong moment and just seeing trending gamer trending gamer sponsored by HP, and then let's cut to the Schick Hydro bot, and like I think that all that stuff can serve to undermine what I think they're trying to do, which is
Sure.
put together a legitimate award show for the gaming industry.
I mean, I would have much preferred, instead of those, like, I would have much preferred to just watch fucking commercials like that were embedded into the broadcast.
Yeah.
Personally, between like the shit, like that shit, agreed. Like, I don't know. That's just like
Yeah,
if you watch any normal award show, they break for commercials. So
yeah, I think that
I'm down with that.
You're kind of right that it's like, I think the dichotomy between sort of the old media way of presenting award shows and things like that, and the new media way of like sort of embedding all of your sponsorships and ads into the broadcast. It was, for me, a millennial by age at least,
Yes.
like pretty jarring to say, hey, let's go over to the Schick Hydrobot thing, and like I'm in this particular case. Like, Schick absolutely got whatever they paid for, right? Because it was a meme and everyone was talking about it, and like maybe that was the whole like devious point of doing it. But I think that's still like you only get lucky like that every now and then. And it's not like I have more brand affinity towards any of those brands. It's just like people are talking about it. But I agree that at a certain point it would kind of just be nice to have regular commercials instead of having all those weird moments.
Yeah, and I'm sure they get in a situation where it was like, okay, Schick is going to throw money into this thing, and they want to have a fucking robot. And I'm sure Jeff Keighley's not tone deaf. I'm sure he had to make. He
knows what he's doing. Yeah, like
he absolutely does. So I'm sure he had to make certain cringe rulings where it's just like, okay, yeah, it's fucking, they want to have a fucking robot and it's going to be terrible, but they're putting in however many thousands of dollars into the show, so we got to allow it. But because I don't think of those kind of integrated brand stuff and ads have to be terrible. I mean, again, like you said, occasionally you'll get lucky, but you can do stuff that's like, that's one thing that continues to baffle me. Like, don't get me started on the fucking pay safe card commercials on fucking esport, like especially Counter-Strike. Because we haven't really ranted on this, but it's literally a guy playing on like a fucking laptop. Like, he's like, oh, you got to go play with your friends. He gets hit up on his phone. I mean, it's literally so bad that the only conclusion I can draw is that like they're trying to trigger people, but I don't think they are. Like, I think it was just made by somebody that has no fucking idea what they're doing. So I guess one of the things is like, I don't understand how advertisers who are trying to advertise to people that are already way savvier than the average, like this generation, can make shit that's so awful. Like, I don't know. That continues to baffle me. Maybe it's like a mix of like old and new media trying to come together. Yeah. But like, just don't treat us like fucking idiots. Like, and then anyway, whatever. If you haven't seen the PaySafe, I'm sure if you're on Twitch and you see ads, like you've seen the PaySafe commercial, or if you've ever watched a Counter-Strike Global Offensive tournament, like you can't avoid them. It's just so fucking bad.
Yeah, but I do agree that the Game Awards, the rest of the presentation is so professional that it's like very, or at least for me, it was very jarring. To have these like hard cuts into something really weird and very different that I could not imagine being on broadcast TV, right? Like those were the moments where it looked almost amateur, and so I think that's the risk they run, is like, if you want to be taken seriously by people that aren't, constantly thinking about games, like people outside of the industry, when you do that sort of thing, you will alienate those viewers immediately because they'll be like, I don't know what this is, and they'll leave.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, let's move on. We do have a little bit more news. There's not that much news going into Christmas. There's like very few releases and stuff around this time. But we do have a few more little news pieces. I put this one in here because there's a couple new CSGO little updates. So I'll talk about real quick this first one. CSGO added gloves. So you can buy glove skins now, and I'm sure they're probably making a fortune off of it. There are some nice high resolution glove textures there.
There are. Some of the gloves are really cool looking. I mean, most people have been like, this has been an update that people have seen like in the, I think they put it in the client, or people when they look at the code were like, oh, okay, yeah, gloves are coming. We knew this for a long time, and they're finally here. And there's some cool looking ones. I'm not gonna lie. I'm over my skin addiction and stuff, so this stuff doesn't really matter to me. But I understand. We get what Valve's doing. this makes maybe if the gloves had just come out, people would be less, because people are always upset anytime Valve like continues to just print money with their game. But I think maybe if there hadn't been the fucking limited use sprays shit that Valve did, this would have been
like
met with a little bit more of like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
You know?
I think that's like the only real miss they've had with the cosmetic stuff. I think in general, most people have been fine with it, and I don't know what more. Like this is to me feels like kind of the last thing they can really make cosmetic without going into things that like either affect sort of gameplay. I mean, like obviously there are more things they could skin, but the question is like they've up until this point they've changed skins that do not affect the actual game really in any way. They just affect your view of the game.
Now, do you think next update I'll be able to paint my nails?
I mean,
it'll be
interesting to see what they do. I agree, though. You're right to an extent. I still think there's a potential for utility skins like grenades,
I guess
like
you're right.
flashbangs.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Like again, they might not do it, but I could see them doing something like that. But then after that, then
they would have to get into like some more like they would have to get into kind of like funny territory, almost like these gloves. The gloves and weapon skins get a little bit outlandish, but when you start skinning like grenades and things, I guess the question is like how far from realistic do they want to get with these skins? But you're right. I mean, you could skin their defuse kits and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. I think they will maybe go that route. And the other thing too, though, is you could say, well, then they, you could have different, like in previous Counter-Strikes, you could select from different models on the T side, right, or the CT side,
right,
depending on the map you were on. But they've gotten rid of that in favor of just uniformity. So I don't think they're going to change that,
right?
Because that would get annoying.
I don't. I mean, that's a pretty clear way they could make an enormous amount of money off of like proper skins. But I can actually relate to the 4 skins for CT and T back in the day. Like sometimes it was difficult to see which team was which, and given how competitive Counter-Strike is, I think they actually they sort of have to keep those consistent to keep the competitive aspect, to keep the sanctity. So then there was that. That's an actual update, but then there was some news that modders actually created weather patterns. A weather system in CS:GO, which obviously doesn't affect the base game, and I don't actually know how many people even bother like modding Counter-Strike.
Right.
But I thought it was an interesting topic of like conversation potentially about where CS goes as it continues to get more mature, and they will have to continue updating. They'll have to continue updating the game, right? I could see weather potentially being like a way that they really change the game. And I'm just curious what you guys think about like weather and adding changing the game over time.
My favorite thing about this is reading the comments, because there's two. I think in casual modes or whatever else, do whatever the fuck you want. If they ever add fucking weather to competitive play as like an update, there will be like somebody will actually bomb the Valve office. Like people will forget. You can't and then even reading the comments, people are like, I don't understand why people say adding weather to competitive is bad. Everyone says that it would leave the game to chance. Actually, it wouldn't leave anything to chance. Honestly, you would have to work as a team more. Like people just don't like these again. Like I'm not trying to be like an elitist prick, but that's the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard. I think it's cool as a mod, and I think it's fine in casual play. Don't ever fucking add weather to Counter-Strike Global Offensive Competitive. It's fucking insane. I think it's cool as a project, though. I think it's cool as a project, but
well, if it acted as if the effects were equal for everyone, even then, nothing, you wouldn't even consider it.
Right? Exactly.
Why?
It's just there's just no. Yeah, like because that's a change that okay, so you can do equipment changes. Like this would fundamentally change. Like if you're going to add an RNG element, like is it going to be raining on Dust 2 today? Is it going to be foggy? Like that shit, but the stuff that has been changed.
Let me take that. Let me take that analogy further though. Like right now you have, map bans and map picks. Like, why could you not also have, weather ban and weather pick? Like,
Oh my God.
I'm not saying I sort of agree with
No,
you.
I know
Like
what you're saying.
from the competitive standpoint, I think there would be probably mass revolt. But like, I look at this as kind of a difficult problem Valve has, is like, if you start seeing the player numbers go down, or if you start seeing things trending in the wrong direction, like, what do you do if you find that the cause is basically like people are finding new games to play, people are finding new stuff. And I think like Dota and League both, if you look at their history, they've changed dramatically from year to year in some cases.
Yeah.
And like CS has, I think if you look at the beginning of Global Offensive to now, it looks very different. But over like the incremental changes, with some exceptions, right? The incremental change has been fairly small. And so, where is CS?
Exactly.
Where is CS in 5 years? Does it stay on
Right.
top because it's CS and everyone knows about it, and like enough people are interested in it because it's just this mainstay competitive title? Or do people get bored, because Valve has left the game more or less the same?
So no, the reason that Counter-Strike works is because the base formula of the game has not changed over all of these years, and that's why it works, because it's very easy to watch, it's very easy to understand the skill around it, and it has an extremely high skill cap. And yes, there is more RNG, I think, in CS:GO than probably a lot of other Counter-Strikes, but my argument against that kind of stuff would be, you're right, like, yes, they've changed, like, okay, there's mollies in the game and there's some other stuff, but at its base, Counter-Strike is a really great game to watch and play because the formula is tried and true. And I think if you start messing with that kind of stuff, like I think it would actually I think it would have the opposite effect. Like something like weather, to me, I think you would find people just, especially people that are more the diehards that play it a lot and play the competitive side of the game, I think they would just quit. I'm not saying that and I agree. But I don't think Counter-Strike you can put into the same category as Dota or like a MOBA and stuff like that, because that's just never how the game has been. And I understand that they want to make money, and that they're going to look at their numbers and they're going to be dwindling and stuff at that point. But and they will. I think they will eventually start to run out of stuff that they can do that doesn't affect the actual like overall gameplay. And again, though, like if they want to appeal more to their casual base and do stuff like that, or maybe even add that and then have it as a variable that's default, often competitive, and people can turn on, all that stuff, it has potential. But I don't see Counter-Strike as a game like some of the other ones you mentioned. I think it's a different beast.
I just
personally
don't see how it wouldn't work, because in Counter-Strike you play 31 best of 30 rounds, right? And like every time, like let's say you play around, and then all of a sudden the weather changes. Like, how can you as a team not communicate a different strategy or buy or something to, and if it's the same disadvantage that you get or maybe advantage that the other team gets? Like, I don't understand how that seem as, like, it wouldn't seem competitive or tried and true when really it's just the same thing, but you're just adding a different element to it. Like,
right. If
you and your team are unable to change up your strategy one round because of the weather change, like for some reason your visibility's down, like I don't see, that seems like a bad part on the team rather than like a problem with the game. Like I don't understand. I don't see what the problem with that is.
Well, I think maybe I could see doing like different. You wouldn't want different types of weather between rounds, but I think, like for instance, they say like the mod they did when raining, it's harder to hear enemies and to see without a sniper rifle, and so like rain changes the dynamics of like what weapons are going to work well on a given map,
Right.
And so I could see like. I think it could be interesting, and I say this more as devil's advocate because I still at a basic level agree with what Scott's saying, but I could see like if you know that that the team you're playing has like an ace sniper, then you may want to you maybe want to pick fog for a certain map because like you basically can't snipe on it, and you sort of try and take away the strength of the other team, and I think that could add some interesting. Kind of meta elements to the picks and bans phase that, I think like yeah, CS is interesting enough, but is it going to be that interesting in like 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I agree. Like as a Counter-Strike player, like we hate change. We fucking hate change. Like because, and there have been good changes that Valve has done. I agree that adding kind of more variables or more things that could change up the gameplay or make it interesting. I don't know. It's just I think it's a very very dangerous thing with this player base too. I think there are definitely people that are newer to the game that would be more apt to be down with this. But I guess if and I'm not like the competitive scene isn't the only thing that Valve has that helps really advertise the game, but it's one because obviously people are going to play it casually and stuff too. But the competitive scene is one thing that really helps drive people's interest around this game. And I can tell you, the people in the competitive scene now, I can't even imagine if this was rolled out without. And I don't think they would just roll this out ever and just be like, this is the way it is. But it's Valve, so who knows? It would just be really interesting to see how it would play out. I can just tell you from my perspective, I would think it would be pretty insane. But it is an interesting discussion to have to say, like, how can they continue to change the game up a bit and keep it interesting, right? Beyond just adding weapons and other things. So I hear what you're saying. I don't know if Valve has the same kind of approach with Counter-Strike that they have with Dota. I mean, if you take a look at it, Gabe doesn't come to the fucking Counter-Strike events. He doesn't give a shit about Counter-Strike. Not that really, but really, though, it's a different even though CS:GO makes so much money for the company, it still has never felt like a true priority for them. So, I don't know.
Oh,
we'll
anyway,
see.
It's interesting to think about.
Hey, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know, was it intentional when you said you wanted to know where CS goes?
It was not, but I wish now that it was.
Oh man, that was a good one. That was my abrupt laugh in the middle of this discussion.
You got rid of the magic by calling me out instead of like the listeners would have just had to wonder if I had meant to do that or not.
I just needed to know. I didn't want to lay awake at night wondering.
I understand. Yeah. I understand. I mean, I wish I could be that witty all the time, but sometimes it escapes me. So let's move real quick into some quick hits. So the Capcom Cup was this weekend, and so there were some fighting game related announcements. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite got announced and confirmed for a Steam release, which I think is the first Marvel game to come to PC. Is that
yes. Right? Yeah. To my knowledge, first time Marvel vs. Capcom is on PC, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've never played Marvel vs. Capcom really, but I enjoy watching it. I'm not sure. I mean, I imagine they will still play on console, but it's nice that it's coming to PC. Fighting games on PC is kind of hit or miss, I suppose.
Yeah, it really is. Especially, Street Fighter V. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
But it looks like we got a really small snippet of gameplay after the tournament finished, which looks like it's going more of an emphasis on 2-character versus 2-character, not really 3v3 like in Marvel 3, which I'm not really opposed to. I like the idea of being more focused on like a smaller group of characters than just being really overwhelmed, but I can see how that's also kind of the charm of it.
Yeah, but, as someone who doesn't play Marvel and just watches it, you're at a certain point, you're really only watching because of the spectacle, not because you have any idea what's actually going on in the metagame there. So I suppose I'm sure Marvel, like hardcore Marvel fans and players, probably have strong opinions on 2v2 versus 3v3. But like having 3 different characters, sometimes all on the screen at once and doing crazy stuff, like it definitely adds to that visual noise that makes Marvel this crazy looking thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a couple characters that got announced also. First time in the series, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure. I know Mega Man wasn't in Marvel 3, but he's coming back. And also Miss Marvel is going to be in Infinite, which I don't know if anyone out there is particularly tickled by that, but it's just one of the new characters. But yeah, so far just a 2017 release for that. But also, we found out that Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is going to be re-released. Right now, it's already available on PS4. It came out like immediately after it was announced on stage. It came out later that day, but it's coming to PC and Xbone on sometime in March 2017, which is awesome because a lot of people claimed Marvel 3 is dying or is dead, but will somehow cling to life. Maybe, you know, on the current generation of consoles, it might stick around for Evo for one more year, hopefully, please. I want to see Justin Wong, another great Justin Wong moment with the Wong factor, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm probably it's on PS4 for $25, so I mean, all signs point to it being that price on Steam. So I could see myself picking this up, or maybe giving it a try. I know, well, you know, if the community isn't that strong for it, I might pass it up. But yeah, if you want to, it's there on the PC. Someone take it.
Someone buy it.
Next up, another quick hit. Final Fantasy 15 sells 5 million copies in its first day, and that makes it the fastest selling game of the franchise. Which,
yes,
I mean, I've heard a lot about it, but I was not aware it was on that kind of pace.
Oh yeah, this it's had a pretty rocky development cycle. I mean, it got
It's been in
announced back
development for 10 years, supposedly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, originally it was announced as like Final Fantasy Versus 13, and then I think it was E3 2013 that they showed a new trailer that was pretty impressive and changed the title to 15, and then so much more attention got put into it. A couple demos came out, and I remember Square Enix, they're talking in an interview saying like, we put so much into this game, if it doesn't sell well, Final Fantasy might be over. So,
Yeah.
seeing this well of a success to 15 is really good news to me, which yeah, I mean, I was so worried that it was going to flop, and it looks like it didn't. So awesome.
All right. Let's jump to the new releases. Kind of short. It's kind of short today.
Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I struggled.
I'm very excited for the last one, though. I'm not.
All right. Let me just savor these first two before we have to talk about that game. God damn it. So, first up, Dead Rising 4 is coming out on December 6th. The probably the most normal of the games on this list. So I know a lot of people are really into that series. It looks like it's going to be a return to form. Like from what I could tell, 3 looked like it was kind of going in a different direction. It looked like it was a bit more serious of the Dead Rising games. But yeah, 4 you're playing as Frank West again. But so yeah, should be exciting. Comes out on the 6th.
I love that this has 1,500 reviews and it's not even out yet.
Yep, yeah, classic Windows Store.
Pretty sick.
God.
I'm going to make sure. I hope it's. Is it? Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Is it on?
Yeah, it's going on. It's going to be on the Microsoft Store. So yeah,
is that
not
the
on
only
Steam.
on Microsoft Store though? Like exclusive?
Yeah, it's not on Steam.
Okay, I love that like it just says on the Microsoft page available on Xbox One. Like they don't even mention that it's on PC.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, that's
it's pretty odd. But next up, our first of 2 indie games. This one looking infinitely more promising than the second. It's called Coffee Shop Tycoon. Now, it is only an early access game, but we're really struggling this week, so we're going to have to accept that. This game is exactly what you think it is.
What?
It's a very... I'm not sure who out there. This is probably...
Who is this for? Who is
Yeah.
this fucking for? Coffee Shop Tycoon.
Listen, YouTuber's life, I can see that. That's kind of relevant, but
Yeah, no, I understand
coffee
that.
shop.
Literally,
I
one of
mean-
the features is brew your coffee. That's the first feature.
Yes,
if
finally.
This like, this is just oh, God, come the fuck on, man. Like, at least if you're gonna make a tycoon game, like feel the pulse and be like, okay, YouTubers' life, that makes a lot of sense, right? A lot of kids want to be YouTubers. I have never heard somebody say, a kid say, I want to run my own coffee shop. Like,
I really want to bring in.
maybe I'm out of touch.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just old, but
Just these features: resupply food and drinks. That's like saying in Call of Duty you can reload your gun.
exactly.
Feature.
Exactly. Buy
All right.
furniture and special decorations for your shop. Cool.
I mean, I guess if I will admit that I don't think I have a full grasp of what makes a successful tycoon-like game.
Sure.
But I feel like the other tycoon games have these same types of bullet points that are like very monotonous, rote tasks. But you're just like, you're not actually brewing the coffee. You just have to like click that you want to brew coffee, right? And like that's just part of the sim of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
I think reading this this bullet point list for Coffee Shop Tycoon makes me realize that I actually have no idea how you market a tycoon game, because when you put all the features,
It looks
it
just
sounds
ridiculous.
horrifically boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even like I understand that. I'm not even harping on it for that. I'm just harping on the fact that coffee to shop tycoon, like I don't know. Maybe I'll
Okay.
be proven wrong. Maybe this will sell like crazy. I don't know though.
Okay, I'm going through this about this game on Steam,
Oh.
and there's a very important point we're missing that could change this game completely. Coffee Shop Tycoon is a management game in which you take control of your own coffee shop. Will you thrive and become a popular coffee shop, or die trying? So your life is at stake making this coffee shop.
That's
Oh,
what
wow.
it is.
Everything
Right.
lies in your hands.
You
You're
didn't
right.
understand the stakes.
Damn.
Wow. Now I would give this game super crazy props if you turn out to be right and like you think it's just a normal like tycoon game, and then it just like takes a dark fucking turn and you like realize that the character you're playing will actually die if the shop doesn't survive, and it take like that
There's
was
like a basement to your coffee shop, or there's like
and
a,
it just
like
gets
a
weirder
dungeon
and
down
weirder.
there.
Yeah,
Are you
that shit
saying
would be
like
awesome.
are you saying like that they're not at the end of their feature list they forgot to include that like if your shop is failing, it includes, you know, like a dozen distinct custom ways to end yourself?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to jump off the roof? I'm sorry, your coffee shop isn't even 2 stories.
7 different customizable suicide animations or something like that. Like,
I mean,
You know what? Dude, have you ever seen a 2-story coffee shop? Me neither.
Yeah,
Not really.
Yeah, I have.
General.
Not many, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, never
I
mind.
mean, I would give them a lot of credit if they, because like I'm looking through the screenshots, bright colors, you know, everything looks very positive. But yeah, I mean, if there's if the part that we're missing is that when you start failing, it takes a very dark turn.
There's a mark. I know there's been some indie games that have kind of done that, where like you think it's going to be all happy, and then it takes a real dark turn. But I don't think there's been a simulator game that has done that. Has there? I don't know. Don't spoil it for me. If there has.
No, I don't think so.
It's like a sim, or I'm sorry, like a tycoon game. I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So there, we should be. You could have a lot of fun with that. I think people would.
That'd be good.
Like, so in the way you would market it, it would actually be M rated. So like
Yeah.
this is how I think.
Right.
So it's M rated, and you're like, wait, that has to be a mistake. But the way it's marketed is like just like this, dude. That's an idea.
But it's
'Cause
something
it's
as
actually-
friendly as like Build-A-Bear Workshop. You're making something like that. You know?
Yeah,
But it's
Oh,
M
so
rated,
that's-
and then like so people will buy it or you buy it, and you're just playing it along. You're like, wow, like, and then maybe things start slowly, like the world is revealed to be extremely dark, and maybe a little bit at a time. That's fucking shit. That's a good idea.
that would actually, you know, that's, I mean, as you say
Someone's
that, my
good.
mind is just going to things like, you know, I'm sorry, your employee didn't come in today because they had to
Right.
get an abortion.
Yeah.
You know, just like,
And you're like,
just, I mean, just
right?
like dark, but like like stuff that could be real, but is like still quite dark. Like definitely too dark for a normal tycoon game.
right.
That was,
Oh,
I think we
that
just
was
identified a marketing opportunity there.
I think so. I
That's
wish
awesome.
that I made games because that would be fucking cool.
I mean, I don't know that I would want my name on a specific game like that, but you know, I'm happy if someone else takes that idea.
Oh man.
I love how personally it appeals to you in the description. This game is not, in all caps, not another click and wait 3 hours for your employees to cook kind of game. You will have to take choices constantly.
I don't know what kind of tycoon games they're playing, but I've never clicked and waited for 3 hours for anything in a tycoon game. So.
Let alone, I mean, I'm generally not waiting for my employees to cook things in a coffee shop simulator.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
God.
I'm trying to find everything I can on this page to keep from talking about this next game.
All right, nope, just do it. Bite the bullet. Do it.
All right, so Coffee Shop Tycoon comes out on the 5th. Hopefully we can get our hands on a review code for the website. And so this next game is from Green Lava Studios. You might remember them from some works such as My Name is Mayo. They've created their next game. It's called Mr. Masagi. Now, from what I can gather from screenshots, trailers, description, the idea of this game is there's some sort of fake Tinder app called Linger.
Yes.
And in some aspect, it's a dating sim, but the goal of this is to get a massage from these women. And from the first screenshot of this page, shows off a muscular man telling you to place your controller, like your real life controller. It's very highly recommended you play with a controller, to either place it on your neck or quote other places and relax and let one of your new friends massage those troubles away. Now I don't know where people are putting their controllers, but I know. Let's take a glance at the Q&A at the description of this game. They say, okay, so what do I get? A fine dating simulator with the possibility of getting a real massage from your gamepad controller. The question says, can I play this game without a controller? It says, yes, but you will feel alone. What's up with the massage and the controller? We programmed various vibration patterns depending on the date's personality.
I fucking can't.
This, God, what a game. Another question says, how do I freaking pronounce that name? Masa Gay? Is that even English? Sorta. It's pronounced Masa G. But hey, say how you like it. It's a free internet. Okay.
You know what? Right. I have to give them credit for at least like doubling down on kind of the ridiculousness of a game like this, and saying and like literally programming vibration patterns in the controller. It's stupid, but it's at least different, like it's different and silly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know if you guys played Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, but that game is like the strongest example I can think of really breaking the mold between being a video game and like conveying real emotion. But this might be the next step, people. This is like coming out of the game and having a genuine interaction other than, an explosion happened and my controller is vibrating. No. You're getting a massage from some lovely ladies. Or men.
Either some lovely ladies or, judging by the screenshots, a jar of mayonnaise.
Yep. Jar of mayonnaise.
Like what?
Like literally one of the screenshots is a line of text, a subtitle from the jar of mayonnaise. I can't even read it. It just says, "Oh, hi. My name is Mayo. Welcome to my apartment. Make yourself at home."
God. This game will unlock in approximately 6 hours at the time of this recording. So,
Jesus Christ.
There's no word on price yet, but hopefully they're taking pre-orders because
it's priceless.
I'm just envisioning that some kid or teenage boy will buy this game, seduce whoever he's trying to date in this game, strip down and put his controller on his penis, and it's going to happen. And I want you all to realize that they probably know this, and it's the worst, terrifying.
I think the worst, like the nightmare scenario. The nightmare scenario is like not what you've just described. It's that like his parents are going to catch him, and he's going to have to explain why his controller's like on his genitals, and he's like seeing dialogue lines from a jar of mayonnaise.
With a jar of mayonnaise. With the jar. Like, how do you ever explain that to your parents? There's just no chance. Not only do you have a controller on your genitals, it's a fucking jar of mayo.
That's our mayonnaise, son. God.
Like I think
Holy
I think
shit.
that, you know, at some point you expect that you may have to explain yourself in terms of like, you know, oh yeah,
sure.
no, you know, I bought this game for the gameplay. Yeah, you know, these girls are in cute tops and stuff, but no, don't worry about it. But like, how do you explain away the jar of mayonnaise?
You just can't.
Oh my god. Ugh. What a game.
Wow. All right. That's it. Those.
If you
Wow.
really want Mr. Misagi, December 5th, it could be all yours. Everybody is someone like Johnny deep inside. So walk on his shoes and get back into the speed dating game. I don't get the reference.
Yeah, I don't know what that it's supposed to be referencing.
Green Lava Studios. I can only imagine what you'll come up with next. But thank you. Thank you for making games like this and proving that anybody can make games. All right.
Even if they shouldn't.
Even if they should not. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, Katie. That was the new releases, and we've got a couple viewer questions here, as always. And the first one comes from Not So Ordinary Gamer. Gee, oh my God. What is your favorite Overwatch character, since you know it is Game of the Year?
Oh,
I can't escape it. Everywhere I fucking go, the meme.
We did get quite a few questions of the variety of what is your favorite X from X, since you know it is Game of the Year. So that is a hot meme going around right now.
Very hot. I can tell. Very fresh.
I mean,
I don't even. I honestly can say I don't really have. Yeah, I don't really. Are we talking about? Are we Rule 30? Like the other thing we didn't talk about with all the Overwatch wins is all the Rule 34 stuff around Overwatch.
Yeah, that's actually.
I think that's the real
That's
reason.
the subtext around the Overwatch win. Is that it was the only one that penetrated Rule 34.
I mean, if we're doing
choice of words, penetrated Rule 34.
That one was intentional.
Yes.
If we're doing waifu wars, I'll have to go with Mercy.
Yeah, you would pick her.
Yeah.
Well, fuck you, Brandon. Who do you pick?
I
didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
That's tough. I think I think I go with Farah, just because Farah calls back to a time when games were more difficult.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to give an answer because I don't have a favorite character because I'm bitter about the game.
I'm referring, of course, to like the Quake and Tribes eras, with projectile-based gameplay for the younger kids who aren't aware.
Brad?
Just based on what I know and who I like, I guess Lucio. I don't know.
Oh, really into that Lucio Rule 34. I feel you. Yeah. I love it too. He's got a great cock.
Okay, that got me. I'm sorry.
Really on the nose with that one.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. All right.
Scott's a Bastion player.
Subreddit tab of Overwatch porn.
What do you think he means when he says this payload is bumping?
I mean, come on. You know what he means.
I mean, think about it.
Of course.
Okay.
We've got a question from Noah Stern, who asked us best kind of fries: garlic, cheesy, sweet potato, etc. So, that's a very broad question because you can, so many things you can do with French fries. Put on top of them, dip them in. So I guess your personal preference, preferred favorite.
For me, it's less about the fries and more about the dipping sauce.
Okay.
I'm gonna withhold
the
my
fries.
answer.
The fries got to be good first.
Because like, what are cheese fries except for like fries with cheese as the sauce? You've just happened to put the sauce on top of them.
Sure. No, I agree with that too, but I agree with Brad. You got the source fry. I mean, the fry. You have to start with. You can't have like a soggy fry. Doesn't matter what you do.
No,
with
of course, but like who? I mean, in a question about best kind of fries, who's gonna say soggy fries?
There's some fucked up people that listen to this podcast. So, but no,
I mean,
you're
I
right.
thought like we have a baseline of like I assume we're talking about
Okay,
high
the fry has
quality
to be
fries.
good,
We're
all
not
right.
talking about like the quality of the fry. We're talking about like what is your preferred way of like preparing the fry.
Yeah.
Curly, steak, waffle. I mean, there's a lot of fries, dog.
Sure.
I do love curly fries.
I love curly fries too.
Yes.
Do you guys
Man.
like fries with the potato skin still on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
them very
Yeah.
often though. Like those feel like more of a place you get like when you get fries at a restaurant or something.
Isn't that like
Right.
Five
In that
Guys?
way.
It's Five Guys does fries like that, don't they? Don't they still have skin on them some, or maybe not? I haven't been to
I
Five
think
Guys.
it's in and out.
Oh, maybe that's In and Out. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm thinking it out. Oh man, that's tough. One way to. I generally do. I think you're right though, Brandon. In general, I'm not usually like ordering the fondue fries like KD did from
I
Wendy's.
know it.
Like, he was just waiting for someone.
I knew.
He could get through the whole segment without somebody.
Oh man.
Almost
I
put this
thought we
question
were
in
past
for the
this.
subtle call out.
No,
See, that's
I'm
what
not
I
saying. I'm
immediately
just.
thought.
I'm just using it as an example of that. I agree with. I agree with Brandon that it is like generally it's about what I dip the fry in. I'm not usually ordering like fries that have a bunch of stuff on them and then like eating it with a fork or whatever. Like, so yeah, I like cheese. I like dipping fries in cheese. I like ketchup. I like ranch. I like bar. I'll dip fries in about just about anything.
Fries can like they're some of the most versatile food in terms of what you can dip.
Yeah,
I really like probably my favorite thing to dip in would be an aioli of some sort, like a real nice aioli, not just normal mayonnaise, proper aioli. Right. But man, I mean barbecue sauce, like ketchup, spicy ketchup, pretty much anything. I'll put fries in anything.
I think honey mustard, pretty good option.
Honey mustard works good with fries.
Great.
It does.
Ranch
Kinda-
as well.
I'm a ranch man. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Ranch with fries are good.
God.
Ooh, good fry sauce like ketchup and mayonnaise or ranch mixed together. Yeah.
Ketchup, mayonnaise, and ranch?
I don't know if I've done all.
I don't
three
think
of
I've
those.
done the trifecta.
No. It's either mayo or ranch.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're saying, so you're saying ranch and ketchup together?
Sometimes, yeah. Some people do like a
Right.
fry sauce. That's
Huh.
that's
I've
not
done
bad,
mayo
yeah.
and ketchup. That's an obvious one, but ranch and ketchup, I don't know if I've had that.
I have to expand my horizons.
Yeah, sounds okay though. I mean, I like both of those.
There's- I don't really have a preference. Like, you just put it right in front of me. I'll probably fucking eat it because I'm a fat ass. But there's this place that's called Lardo. That's two
Wow,
blocks.
really on the nose right there, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's this place called Lardo 2 blocks away. Well, it's a few blocks away from my work, and
Lardo.
I've been meaning to go there. But just look it up, Lardo, Portland, and then you'll see pictures there for fries. It looks fucking amazing, and I still need to go, but I'll report next week. I'm gonna try them. I'm determined. I will let you know if these are good or not. But
Okay.
oh my god,
Homework?
yeah, pretty much. But
I'm not sure if we answered this recently at some point. But what is your preferred fast food fry?
Ooh, that is a good question.
I was just
gotta
thinking
give it to
about-
Wendy's.
Wendy's? Okay. I was just thinking about Jack in the Box. Like Jack in the Box curly fries. I
Jack in the
think
Box curly fries.
I think
are
pound
really-
for pound are like the best, probably the best thing Jack in the Box makes, just in terms of pure quality.
Don't get Brad started on the munchie box, but yeah, the curly fries are really good.
No,
Yeah, boy.
it's novel, but I'm saying the ingredients they use, like I would not
Yeah,
classify them as high quality. It's good food, right? I'm gonna eat it, but I think their curly fries are actually like really good.
Now, something like Penn Station wouldn't really count as fast food fries.
I would say if we as a collective don't know what that is, then it doesn't count because like that must be like a local chain or something like that. I'm talking.
Oh, is it really? Oh, Penn Station is
Yeah.
like some of the best fries.
Five Guys fries are pretty good. The Cajun fries.
Yep, Cajun. Get the Cajun
Yeah,
seasoning on
for
there.
sure.
Actually,
I don't know. I mean, I think McDonald's fries, if fresh, are really good. I like McDonald's fries.
McDonald's
they're
fries
good.
are
But
okay.
it is the worst getting them not fresh though.
Yeah, if they're not fresh,
Oh.
yeah, totally. They're awful.
Yeah.
It's just
but
mush.
got
Because
it.
that's the
You got it.
thing. That's the thing. They're not even mushy. They're like seriously like stale almost. I don't know how
Yeah.
they get stale so quick, but it's like Five Guy fries. Like they could be cold and I could probably still eat
Still
them.
be good.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think McDonald's probably has the biggest disparity between the fries when they're fresh versus like when
Yeah.
they've been there for half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Last question from Icantu via email. He asks, back in the late 90s to early 2000s, when connecting to the internet still required you to quote-unquote dial up, what were your favorite flash game / cartoon websites to pass time with? What an appropriate question.
Great question.
Huh.
And so easy for me. It's just instant. Homestarrunner.com. Finally.
That's a
that
classic.
was good.
I just spent so much time on that site. So good. There's so many people that will never understand the greatness of homestarrunner.com and Strong Bad and all the characters over there.
It's like a moment captured in time. Like
It is.
you wouldn't be able to go to them today and understand like the
No.
impact.
And but even I was like watching some stuff. I think is the whole site still up? I'm trying to. I actually haven't checked in a while.
I'm on
Yeah, and
right
I was
now.
like going back and I was like, do I just remember this fondly because it was like I was younger and it's not as funny? No, dude. Fucking Strong Bad emails and shit. That shit.
Oh,
The
that's
writing, the voice acting, the animation is like, it's crazy to me. Like, did whoever made that? Did they ever make any money? They never had ads on the site. I guess they
I
eventually
think it's
sold
just merch. Yeah, it's just
But
merch.
So I guess that was good, but it's like that something that quality to just be free. Like that's
Yeah.
another time capsule thing where could never exist nowadays. Like
From what I
for somebody to put that
understand-
much work in, like
From what I understand, they're actually trying to learn like HTML5 and other languages and stuff because like Flash
yeah.
is being abandoned.
right.
So I guess they're still active, but I haven't seen anything new or how they keep up. Like I'm just so used to watching my content on YouTube now.
I need somebody. I need somebody. If not, I'll just do it. But I need somebody to do a documentary on homestarrunner.com and like the people behind that shit because that's just fascinating to me. It would be really cool to find out, like, because I don't know anything about like who was behind it. I imagine it probably is not that many people because it sounds like the person does a lot of the voices.
Right.
Yeah, Trogdor and oh my god, dude, like so much good shit. What about so besides that, sorry, no monopolizing. What would you guys say?
Well, I was trying to find what it was called, but I remember back in the day there used to be this web Lego game that you could explore. It was, I don't know if it was like an online game or like you could play with other people or not, but it was kind of like this open world like Lego game that you can explore, find stuff, and do quests and things like that. I can't find it on Wikipedia.
Now that you're saying it, like,
But it was a web game, and it was
Yeah.
amazing. That's all my brother and I played. Other than that, I can't really think of. I was on Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network had the shit back in the day.
I mean, E-Bombs World was all over.
Oh,
E-Bombs
yeah.
World growing up.
Two Finger Death Punch, was that what it was called or something? Stick figure guy that would fight people.
Yes. Yep.
I'm trying to remember. Like this wasn't in the dial-up days because I can't remember like the really old stuff that I used to play. I mean, if we're talking literal dial-up, that would be quite a long time ago. But the one that stands out to me that is still sort of relevant today is when I was in college. I got kind of hooked on playing Bloons, like Bloons Tower Defense. At the time, it's now like an iOS game, and I think it's on Android. Like it probably makes a lot of money now. It's like it's one of those tower defense games. That's on the App Store. But at the time, it was just a free Flash game, and I don't remember what site it was on. But
it's still free now.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Flash. I think the Flash game is probably still around and still free. But like now, it's an app. Like it's very. It's got a ton of levels. They've done a lot of work on it. But back then, it was just like a handful of levels, and I remember that it, because it was running inside the Flash container on like my little laptop. I remember once you got to like level 50, it would just like it would bring everything to a crawl with all the balloons it was trying to render inside
so
of
many
Flash.
like super monkeys.
Yeah, and
when
so
you had, like,
it was
the blimps
it was actually really frustrating because you would just at the later levels you pretty much couldn't interact with the level during like while it was going on. So you just had to hope your defense was good enough to get through the whole level, because then you'll be able to play stuff and whatever when there were no balloons on the screen. But that's like the one game that stands out to me, because like when we were studying for tests and stuff, and I wasn't at home, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do some studying and then play some balloons. And that's still one of my favorite tower defense games. Like, it's a really good game.
Oh yeah, nothing was like it was such a really satisfying thing, especially I think it was like the third or fourth one I'm thinking of, where you set up such a strong defense of like, super monkeys, and you have those things that like really like your bananas, like you invest and just get crazy amounts of money and just get to like when you start passing, round 100, and that always feels like really satisfying when there's just absolute chaos going on the screen.
Yeah,
I love that game.
Great game.
I can't really relate to this as far as like, dial-up internet. I mean, closest thing I can think of was this like cool math games.
I mean, we had cable like before you were born, so
yeah.
But, I mean, you still play Flash games though sometimes.
Yeah, when I was a kid. I mean, I played some Flash games, like especially in school. Like what am I trying to? I think there was cool math games, and then there was like the Fancy Pants Adventure, which was like this entire Flash game that now it's like it got fully funded and it's like a game on the PSN and like Xbox Live Store. But dude, Fancy Pants Adventure, if you could beat that game, you were the shit back in middle school.
Yes.
All
right.
Good times, dude.
Yes. They were the best of times. They were the slowest of fucking times, sadly. All right. Well, I would say that we would now launch into our iTunes podcast review of the week. But even with us gone last week and having no cast, there is still no review. So,
no new reviews. It's unfortunate, but
it is.
You know what? That just means what I assume that means is that someone is just spending a lot of time on their review, knowing that they only get one shot.
Could be crafting something amazing.
They get one chance at it, and so you don't want to muff it, and so we will await your perfect review. You person who has been writing it for the past 3 weeks, it's time now.
It is. Now is your time. Now is your chance. Live every moment. Leave nothing to chance. Swim in the sea. Drink of the deep. Embrace the mystery of all you can be. I cannot quote Michael W. Smith more accurately or perfectly in this moment. So write your review, okay? Michael W. Smith, great.
Oh,
great Christian music artist.
Bars.
So we will be back next week with episode 259. What on earth? And obviously you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow KBMOD Gaming at KBMOD Gaming on Twitter. You can follow me at APL Fisher. Katie Zen is at Katie Zen 18. Brad is at Hutchison15, and Volition is at VOL1TION. And of course, you can go to KBMOD.com, check out reviews, previews, reviews, build guides, Rule 34, Overwatch porn. Just kidding. I don't think that we have an article on that yet, but I mean,
we do.
Oh, do we?
Okay.
We do. Yeah, we have an article on it. Yeah.
I was totally kidding. I didn't think we actually did. All right. I'm literally.
Really do. Yeah. It's a good
article. Go look that up right now.
It's good.
I was being totally facetious, but that's amazing.
I mean, it's a safe for work article.
Well, sure.
But
wow. How did I miss that one? I'm literally on the website right now with some egg on my face. Okay, so again, we're covering all the just more proof that we're covering all the stuff that you care about and that we care about. So there you go. So thanks again for listening, guys, and we will see you next week. Farewell.
Yeah. Shit. I knocked a water bottle over. Fuck.
Riff? Oh no.